All right, welcome in. We got the 2024 NCAA tournament bracket in front of us. I haven't smelled mine yet. I don't know what I was hoping to accomplish there, Jake, but
it smells good.
Are you a paper guy?
Oh yeah,
you're still a
since
paper
day one,
we'll
forever.
Paper guys.
Yep.
Jake Marsh, like we did last year, is here to. We're gonna fill out our brackets. We're live right now. For those watching, some of you are listening to the podcast the next morning, but we are doing this. What, like a half an hour after we saw the bracket? So this is the best way to do it, I found.
Yeah.
I think you just rip from your gut and don't overthink it. And
right.
That's what we're going.
You're going to change it. Doing this live allows us to not change it. Like, it'll be out there.
It'll just be out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about like you might want to revisit it if you get some injury updates and all that. Which
right.
I
think we have the right to do that. I don't know.
So.
But it's also like, if there's a major injury, like sometimes on a Tuesday,
like a Zach Edey roll,
yeah,
like blows out his knee in practice.
Like a few years ago,
right to change our bracket. Before.
R.I.P. Fab Melo, but wasn't he announced like that he would be suspended for the tournament
right
after the bracket was revealed?
Which is a big,
and that changes everything.
All right. Liam Blutman is here as well. By the way, Blutman is what's your title for this particular exercise we're doing? Just here. The ball knower?
Just here. A former top 5 mind in college basketball.
Former top 5
last season.
Yeah.
Guy fell off this year, didn't pay as much attention, but conference tournament, that was fun.
Liam is you might serve as my coin flip guy, where I just ask you because you've watched more. You've honestly probably watched more basketball than any human being I know this year. And you say that you haven't watched a lot of college basketball, and yet when I talk to you, I'm like, you've watched more basketball than I probably have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why he's here. All right, so let's do big picture thoughts. We're gonna get to our picks here in a second. We just did the bracket show, but I just kind of want to revisit that without Brandon. Let's just get two college basketball guys, two of the brightest college basketball minds, plus Liam here, to talk about just overall thoughts on the bracket. I think like the big bullet point that everyone looks at immediately is the bubble. The Big East was snubbed as a whole. St. John's, Providence, Seton Hall. I think Seton Hall had the best case. St. John's had the momentum, I would say, but Seton Hall, I think, had the overall better resume. Doesn't matter. Both of them left out. The Big East gets 3 teams in. And not only gets 3 teams in, but UConn got bent over a barrel with their draw. For being a number 1 overall seed, you have 4 top 10 KenPom teams. You have 5 – or the four top 10 KenPom teams are the 4 teams that just won their conference tournaments. They're all red hot. That's what stood out to me. What stood out to you other than the Big East getting screwed?
The Big East getting screwed was definitely there. It is really weird to see the last 4 in playing in Dayton as 10 seeds. I know you said that there was a good chance this would happen, but they're always 11s or 12s.
Yeah. So
that's weird.
And for those of you who have no idea why that happened, we'll do our best to explain it together. The automatic bids. There's X number of automatic bids, and then there's X number of at-large, and typically a lot of the automatic bids come from teams that are in the Pac. Typically, Arizona is supposed to win the Pac-12. Arizona is going to get a bid already, but Oregon did it this year. And typically, North Carolina should have won the ACC, but instead NC State did. And so what happened is they started all these teams that weren't as good are filling up the bottom seeds, and the first 4 games are you take the 4 worst automatic bids and also the 4 worst at-large bids, and because of the way the bubble worked this year where all the automatic bids were stacking up towards the bottom, the 4 worst at-larges were 10 seeds. That's crazy. That's never happened before.
Yeah, insane. But I'd say biggest takeaway is the Midwest region having all those schools who have yet to get over the hump. Purdue, Tennessee, Creighton, all as the 1, 2, 3. Like, there's a very good chance one of those droughts end, or there's a very good chance Gonzaga or Kansas teams who have gone to Final Fours get back there and spoil it.
Right. Yeah, it's true. And you have Gonzaga and Kansas are 2 teams that are not as good as – I don't even know how far back you have to go. I mean, I'd say honestly 20 years. These might – if you want to argue these are this isn't the worst Gonzaga team in 20 years, but it's
the worst one
the idea
this decade. You would think
like Kansas and Gonzaga have set a standard, and neither one of these teams are at that standard. And yet at the same time, they're both a 4 and a 5 seed, and they're in a good position to go on a little bit of a run here. So it's definitely a bracket that's got some intrigue to it. And and we'll go through game by game, so we don't need to spend too much time. But those are the overall things. I'd say Virginia getting in is absolutely shocking to me. Virginia's like non-conference. They beat Florida. They beat Texas A&M. Now, here's the problem with the bubble this year is you could poke holes in everybody. I guess that's the problem with the bubble every year. But I was very surprised Virginia made it. And I have historically been a very big fan of Virginia basketball, but I just felt their resume was not great. Their style of play is not great. They have not – all the times I've watched Virginia this year, I've rarely walked away saying that team feels like an NCAA tournament team. And the way they lost to NC State, you assume that was it.
Right.
Done. And – not the case.
I'm trying to think.
They're still alive.
I think this will be – so they play Tuesday night in Dayton, standalone game. I think this has to be the first time that Virginia will be in a standalone slot since the national championship game.
Oh, wow.
Right? It would have to be.
Yeah, it would have to be, yeah. That's a good point.
Because when they lost to Furman last year, there were a few other
games
games
going on.
But, like, there is no other – I guess you could watch the NIT. The NIT starts Tuesday.
So the NIT will be going on while Virginia.
Yes.
Okay, so
it's not a standalone
we have counter
game.
programming. So if Virginia,
yes,
I will say Colorado State's a fun team, so they could do. This could be a fun game. Like Isaiah Stevens is awesome, and I do like the Colorado State team, and they're not great at defense, but they're great at offense. And Virginia has the opposite problem. So stylistically, it could be an interesting game. It's just watching Virginia this year has been a slog, and whatever they're in, I'm stunned. The Big East got slighted. The fact that with Virginia being in, we have Virginia, Duke, Carolina, and Clemson obviously made it. So that's 4 ACC and 3 Big East. The idea that 6 Mountain West teams made it and 7 combined Big East and ACC teams made it is bonkers.
I think that's the other takeaway. I feel like so many years we're in this moment and we're trying to root on that small conference. Not that the Mountain West is the smallest conference, but that non-power 6 conference team that may have gotten screwed. That's not happening anymore. The Mountain West got everyone. You look at the first 4 out. Oklahoma was the first team out. I thought we all thought they were safely.
I thought they were safely in as well.
Seton Hall we talked about. Indiana State we probably didn't expect. And then Pitt was another power conference team first 4 out. So St. John's wasn't even close.
I don't think they were close, It's crazy. I don't know. The Big – like I think – was it Max? I don't know. We talked to a lot of people on the show, the bracket show we just did. Someone made up the point that – CBS has the tournament rights.
Yeah.
The Mountain West has a CBS contract. The Big East has a Fox contract. That's the conspiracy theory. I'm not saying I fully agree
that
with
was
it.
Frank the Tank's.
Frank the Tank said it too, yeah. I'm not saying I fully agree with it, but you start listening long enough and you're like, they're making a lot of sense. There's a lot of dots being connected here that make a lot of sense. All right, so I'm going to do some housekeeping before I get into this. For those of you who watched or listened to last year's show, I had a manifesto. I wrote down all my notes because last year was a legacy bracket for me. I had fucked up a couple years in a row picking my national champion, and it was very important to me that I didn't fuck up my national championship pick last year. I took Alabama, the number 1 overall seed. Everyone called me a pussy.
And they were your winner.
Rightfully so, because I went with the number 1 overall seed. They made it to the Sweet 16, which I sort of feel like is not a failure, but also obviously they didn't win the national championship, so that's not
right.
I'm not gonna spike the football or anything and pretend like I got it right. But I was okay with it. I'm fine with that result. I want to draw attention to you, Jake, because this is feeling like a legacy year for you now.
So you had the legacy year last year. It didn't quite work out. This is my legacy year. This is my spotlight. And for those who don't know the backstory, 2022, I filled out my bracket. I submitted Kentucky as a national champion. What did Kentucky do? Lost to St. Peter's on the first Thursday of the tournament in a 2-15 historic upset. Okay, not my year. 2023, I took Arizona to win the NCAA tournament, 2 seed. What did Arizona do? Lost in historic fashion to number 15 Princeton, which, by the way, is the most forgotten about 15-2 upset that we'll ever have because it was the same day that FDU beat Purdue. So, bottom line is, the last 2 years, my champion has been knocked out day 1.
Not just first round.
No, it's day 1.
Yeah, day 1 of the tournament.
So my bracket had no chance past day 1. This year, I still don't know who I'm taking. Do you know who you're taking?
I have no idea.
I don't know who I'm taking.
I went through I have a manifesto that I'm ready to go through before I start making picks, but I will say one piece of advice for you. You should pick someone that plays
It's Friday.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
You should pick, or
just to survive the first day. Or I could just put all my chips in the center of the table.
Or you should do Thursday.
That would be
kind of
such
funny,
a great story.
Because that makes Thursday very fun.
Yeah.
That's a fun subplot, is that Jake Marsh's national title pick for the 3rd year in a row is playing on day 1 and might lose on day 1.
whoever
Oh,
I
do
take
whatever
to
you
win it all, you people watching right now at home should take that
Yeah.
the opposite team in the first round.
Yeah.
Because that would be
absolutely.
insane. To lose your champion day one all 3 years.
I don't know, dude, because you just never. 2019, I picked Virginia at the start of I didn't just pick them at the start of the tournament, Jake. I picked them at the start of the season, and I got it right. And so, up until last year, I was a guy who either called national champions or I called first round losses. So I don't know. You might be picking the national champion this year. You might get it right. So last year I felt I was in your spot. I felt a ton of pressure. I'd fucked up a couple tournaments in a row, and it felt like a big one. So I went through and I made my manifesto because I thought I got to put some. I got to stop sitting down, letting emotions take hold. Stop looking at certain matchups and getting swayed by the public, getting swayed by sort. So I wrote down before the bracket even came out. I wrote down a bunch of notes that said, no matter what happens, stick to this because this is how it works, and this will lead you to the promised land. And don't get swayed, and don't venture away from this. So I'm going to go through last year's just to see what lessons we can learn. So last year on my out list, number one bullet point I had on my out list, like no matter what happens, what the bracket says, do not trust in Mountain West teams.
This year, the committee trusts them.
Yeah, that was my number one out last year. 4 Sweet 16s of all time for the Mountain West, and then San Diego State goes to the national championship game. Fucks me. Number 2, I had Iowa. Do not trust Iowa. That ended up being okay.
That's safe.
Number 3 was Tennessee. They go to the Sweet 16, so that one's a little iffy. But I wrote down that Rick Barnes has been to 1 Sweet 16 since 2008. He's now been to 2, so that one's whatever. I wrote Vermont and Colgate. Do not trust them under any circumstances because they always make the NCAA tournament. Everyone is very familiar with both of these programs, but they don't actually win in the NCAA tournament. So
And they're back this year.
Neither one of them won last year, by the way. I said don't trust Kentucky, which ended up being a pretty good idea. And then the other one that fucked me, Jake, was number 7 on my out list was do not trust coaches with too much energy.
UConn has
Dan
Hurley has a little bit of energy, you could say.
Yeah, so I when I turned on the national championship, I had a Mountain West team versus a coach with too much energy. And the rationale was in the NCAA tournament when tensions are high and assholes are tight and these players are freaking out because they're looking up and it's a tied game with
the whole world's watching.
The whole world's watching. I don't think a coach bringing frantic energy into the huddle is what you need. You need a guy that's going to calm them down. That was my rationale. Now, Dan Hurley won a national championship, and that disproves my theory. But also, Jake, UConn won every single game by 13 or more last year on the road to the national title. So that never actually got put to the test. So I'm still – I don't know. I don't think I can trust it because Dan Hurley won, but it's also like UConn never really had a moment where it was like, oh, shit, we might lose this, and Dan Hurley has to calm them all down. I don't know. Last year, I also said I was in on Oral Roberts. They lost. I was in on Kent State. They lost. I said Gonzaga to the Sweet 16 because they keep going to the Sweet 16. I was right on that. And then I said Kansas to the Elite 8, so I got that wrong. So basically, last year's manifesto, throw it in the garbage. I took the time to learn from my mistakes last year. I have a new manifesto that I'm going to try to do my best to rip through real quick for you, Jake. Number 1 on my out list this year, Colgate.
Just Colgate.
Just Colgate. This is their 5th NCAA tournament in a row. They are 0-4 in their last 4 appearances, and they've lost by an average margin of almost 13 points a game in those 4. So they're not even really that close. They're not. It's
They're
not even
close
like
against Wisconsin.
they had one good game, but it was like they're not. But like Colgate is a team, and Bloodman, you'll back me up on this. Colgate makes the tournament every year. People get excited. We don't believe in this Colgate team, do we?
I get excited for Colgate every single year. I'm there fighting in the trenches of the Patriot League with Matt Langell every single year, watching these guys snipe from 3 every single year, and then they face a little bit of toughness in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
A little too overpowering for them, and it becomes too tough. And they've still got good bigs. Keegan Records and Jeff Woodward doing their thing, but I don't think they've got enough snipers to get it done this year, and I think they got a pretty tough draw.
There we go. That's what I wanted to hear. Number 2 on my out list is Vermont, which always breaks your heart. They were on there last year, but Jake, everyone remembers TJ Sorrentine, and like when we see Vermont in a bracket, we're like, TJ Sorrentine.
He got his heart broken today, by the way. He's an assistant coach at Brown.
Yeah, that's tough.
Feel bad, yeah.
TJ Sorrentine was 2005. That was almost 20 years ago.
I know. They're so due.
Vermont has been to 6 tournaments since then, and have not
And
fared particularly.
Here's the thing: this is probably one of not worst teams, but they've had better talent on those teams. When
On
I
the
was
other
there, they had
teams.
Anthony Lamb. He's one of the best players in the country. So like, why not? Because everyone's gonna hop off of them.
Right.
It's the same thing with Colgate.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's Colgate?
So you're jumping
They're
off. I
filling
think
in.
you have to ride the wave,
Dude, I'll let you. I lost my pen.
which I'm obviously gonna ride the wave. No spoilers though, even though that's a spoiler.
No, you can. I'll let you ride the wave. I'm just telling you, for me, like I can't. This is why I wrote it down, Jake.
Yeah.
I knew this was gonna happen. I knew Vermont was gonna come up, and you were gonna try to. I had to write it down and
Yeah.
trust my gut. Number 3 is Big Ten tourney champs because the last 3 have missed the Sweet 16. But then this is fucking me up because on my end list I got a lot of Illinois things as well. So like I don't know what I'm gonna do there. Number 4, I put 12 over 5 upsets. They were 0-4 last year. Everybody loves 12 over
Yep.
5s. The same thing happened to me as the brackets coming out. I was falling in love with all these 12 over 5s. They went 0-4 last year, and they lost by like 12 points per game. They weren't really close last year at all. So I'm like, maybe I learned from that. Maybe we don't do 12 over 5s. I also put McNeese State I don't trust, which is a 12 over 5, so that
Yeah.
actually works out well because McNeese, I feel like everybody loves McNeese, but I think Will Wade has a foot out the door. He's ready to take a new coaching job already after 1 year at McNeese, and they don't make free throws, and also Michigan might be the best team they played, so I wrote that down. Number 6, I don't trust. So on my trust list, on my in list, I put unfinished business teams. On my my number 6 on my out list is the finished business teams, and I think like FAU, I think Michigan State, I think San Diego State are all teams that like kind of did it last year in some way, and I think that group is like sort of feels like they kind of accomplished something already.
It's interesting that
And I don't think they're hungry.
3 of last year's Final Four teams were 3 of the first 5 teams announced this.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
UConn is the 1, FAU is the 8, and San Diego State's the 5.
So I don't think Florida Atlantic should be in the tourney to begin with. I think San Diego State had a great start to the non-conference schedule. They went 10-8 down the stretch after that. And Michigan State won a surprise Sweet 16 run last year, but I've kind of hated this Michigan State team all year. So there's that. There's the 0 wins. Like no team has ever won a national championship that did not win a single game in their conference tournament. So I made that list of those teams. And then Houston lost by 28 to Iowa State, which I think took them out of my national championship contention because it's a very short list of teams that have been blown out by 25 or more that have gone on to win a national championship. So that's my out list. In Gonzaga to the Sweet 16, 8 straight Sweet 16s. They have not lost a first-round game since 2008 against Davidson and Steph Curry. Gonzaga felt like they were on the bubble for stretches this year. They beat Kentucky in Rupp Arena. They get it back. They beat St. Mary's at St. Mary's. They're obviously a 5 seed, so they weren't even close to the bubble when the dust settled. But yeah, I Gonzaga to the Sweet 16, you just have to trust it. No matter what happens, you see Gonzaga in a bracket. Until proven otherwise, I'm putting them in my Sweet 16. I did the finished business teams. I think there are unfinished business teams. I think Drake is one of them. Tucker DeVries in the NCAA tournament last year went 1 for 13 against Miami. They were up at halftime on Miami.
We had them in bracket
We
busters.
did. Yeah, you and I were watching
Yeah.
closely. It
Which
broke
you can
my
tune
heart.
in, by the way, on Tuesday on the
Good
Barstool
plug.
main channel.
Good plug. This
Yes.
is why you're professional. So he goes 1 for 13. They kind of had Miami. I don't want to say like it was done and dusted, but like they were playing really, really well against Miami. A lot of those guys are back. Drake is in a good spot, so I'm going to trust that Drake is hungry and has some unfinished business. I think Marquette has some unfinished business. They lose to Michigan State in the second round. Most of those guys come back. Omax Prosper moves on, but basically the rest of the team is back. They got to get Kolek healthy, though. Purdue is another one that obviously has unfinished business, and as much as people are going to not trust Purdue, I think they're going to – I don't know if they're going to win the national – I can't have Purdue winning my national championship, but I think they're going to at least beat the 16 seed this year. What else? We can get into it. One-dimensional team to the Final Four I wrote down. I think there's a fear every year, Jake, that you point out a team and you say, I don't know if I trust their defense. I don't know if I trust their offense. They're a little too one-dimensional. But if you go back and look, last year in the Final Four, we had a Miami team that didn't want to guard but was great offensively. You had a San Diego State team, disgusting to watch on offense, but could guard. They both made the Final Four. A year before that, Duke's offense was incredible. I think they had the best offense in the country, led by Paolo Banchero. They didn't want to guard. The year before that, UCLA's defense wasn't that great. So I think there's always one team. Maybe they don't win the national championship, but there's always one team that gets to the Final Four that is one-dimensional. So I told myself, do not be afraid of the one-dimensional teams, even though I'm always afraid of the one-dimensional teams. And then I made my list of cold-ass white boys, and I'm gonna rely heavily on those because I do think it was the year of the cold-ass white boy in college basketball. So I'm gonna make sure my cold-ass white boys get taken care of in this thing. So that's it. That's where my mindset is at for all of you watching and listening. That's where I'm at. That's what the manifesto says this year. Now I have to put it to practice and fill out this bracket. So anything else we need to say before we dive into it?
No, I'm just staring. I'm just, as you're saying that, I'm just staring at all these teams and trying to pick who I'm going to have going far. And it's just like, you don't want to be too chalky, but you also can't be too crazy.
Can't be too crazy, Jake.
So, like, we're all going to.
One note, Blutman?
Yeah, I want to just put the note out there about Virginia, who went 4-5 in its last 9 games and hasn't be a tournament team since Clemson on February 3rd.
It's crazy.
Comfortably in, by the way.
Well, I mean, they are in the play-in game, but
comfortably in. They're comfortably in because they shouldn't be in the playing game.
TJ,
Shouldn't be there.
If at any point during this show we get an update from Joe Lenardi on the golf course, by the way, I would love for you to share that with us. I'm happy that Joe Lenardi can now go on vacation.
Yep.
Good for him, man.
This tournament broke him. I don't know what happened to Joe, but
I think it was just the bid stealers. This is the year of the bid stealers.
He can. I don't know. We can have that.
He didn't watch them.
He's going to bed early. He's aching for vacation. We can talk about that later. Let's get into the picks.
Want to do the ad first?
Let's do the ad first before we get into the picks. I want to talk about Optimum Nutrition. Whether you're a bracket breaker or a bricklayer, unlock more you with Optimum Nutrition. When you hit the court, make sure you have gold standard 100% whey in your bag. Whether your game's on point or you're looking for pointers, Optimum Nutrition can help you. Unlock more with 24 grams of high-quality protein and more than 15-plus easy-to-mix flavors that support muscle building and recovery. Gold standard 100% whey is the key to helping you rebound with the best. Recover right and stay out of foul trouble with Gold standard 100% whey. Post up, drive to the basket, and unlock more you with Gold standard 100% whey. My favorite flavors. So they gave some to me, which I love Optimum Nutrition. I didn't take it as a slight. The internet has been talking about my arms since I wore that jersey the other day, and everyone's saying I have noodle arms. So Optimum Nutrition said, Titus, here you go. Here's some protein. Let's get you beefy for beach season this summer. I love the chocolate. I love the vanilla. I'm more of a simpleton when it comes to the flavors. They have more elaborate flavors. They have 15 plus, no matter what you're into. Post up, drive to the basket. I already said that. When the final buzzer sounds, recover like a champ with the Gold standard 100% whey. Sold at stores nationwide and at OptimumNutrition.com. Optimum Nutrition. All right. Let's get into the picks. I asked you this last year. I have a terrible memory, so apologies, Jake. You are a round by round guy, not a region by region.
And I am left column, right column.
Left column, right column, left column, right column, left column, and we keep going back.
You're the same way, right?
Same way.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're aligned.
I know people go like clockwise and stuff. Like I just
No.
like going down. Yeah.
I'll make it easy. I'm going UConn to win the first game.
Yep.
UConn over Stetson.
Stetson, great story. First ever tournament appearance.
I have an audience of Hoosiers because of my background. Jalen Blackman is James Blackman's brother, James Blackman Sr.'s son. He is the star player for Stetson, so that's something to keep an eye on. I'm basically just speaking to my father, who's watching right now. From Marion High School in Marion, Indiana. He is the guy that will be leading the charge for the Hatters, but they will lose to UConn. So there you go. We're both in agreement there. FAU Northwestern. This is going to be an incredible game.
Yeah.
This is going to be an incredible game. FAU once again has an 8. They were an 8 seed last year. They were 9 seed.
They were 9.
They were 9.
Memphis was
Yeah. So they're back in a familiar position with the 8-9 game. I'm going to let you go first.
I'm taking FAU. They obviously returned the majority of their cast from last year where they made the Final Four. I think people expected them to have a better regular season, right? Just because of the recency bias and bringing back everybody. But I think they're going to go into this feeling a little disrespected because I think a lot of people jumped off of them because they didn't live up to the hype of last year. But I think they beat Northwestern.
Okay.
Barstool Invitational alums.
Barstool both of them? No, FAU. Yeah. I got confused there for a second.
Yeah.
We are in Chicago, Northwestern.
Yes.
The manifesto says don't trust FAU, and I think Boo Buie is going to be the best player on the court, and I think Boo Buie is a guy who is made for March, made for the NCAA tournament. I can close my eyes and picture Boo Buie scoring 36 points in an NCAA tournament game. So against my better judgment, I know FAU has the pedigree from last year, and they're going to feel way more comfortable. The idea, I just got to say, I want to pause right here and just say the idea of Northwestern playing a team that went to the Final Four last year and brought back basically everybody, and I'm picking Northwestern to win the NCAA tournament game. What a come up for that program.
Northwestern, I
That's
feel
insane.
like they're always in an 8-9 game.
Yeah, they are. I don't know how they get out of that trap because it feels like they're having good years throughout the season, and then the bracket comes out and it's like you're not as.
Last year they played
They
Boise
can't get
State.
a top 5 seed to save
It
their.
might have been a 7-10 game, but still.
Yeah. I'm taking Northwestern.
How about FAU getting an 8 strictly based off reputation?
It is based.
No,
on-
they have horrible losses, but they also beat Arizona.
Yeah, but they were
Did they beat
also
Illinois or
lost.
Illinois beat them? Illinois beat
they
them.
lost to
Illinois beat them.
Illinois.
They
No.
lost to Illinois.
they
Lost to
lost to Illinois. They had a lead in the second half,
That's
I
right,
believe, and
yeah.
kind of let it go. But this is a team that really kind of mentally checked out in conference play and was just kind of coasting and waiting for the NCAA tournament and everything, which is fine. But if they don't do what they did last year, I mean, they're not an 8 seed. They're probably going to be in the last 4 in.
I agree with
And
that.
they also,
Based off
Almost
reputation,
lost to
they got an
Memphis.
8.
They almost
the
lost
first
them.
round.
They should have probably.
Yeah.
I would say.
There was a controversial call, right?
Yes, there was.
I think FAU is just not as hungry as they need to be. I think they're waiting to flip the switch, and
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if it works that way.
That's a
but-
good point.
Obviously, not the worst. I mean, it's going to be a coin flip game. San Diego State UAB.
Like not. It's
I
just
just
so.
did. I just did finish business. I just said I'm looking at the man. It says don't trust San Diego State because they're not hungry enough. They're not hungry enough. They went to the Final Four last year, but last year I said don't trust Mountain West teams, and they made me. Fuck. We're 3 games into this, Blutman.
I
I'm
know.
already having a
It's
breakdown.
so hard.
I said don't trust. So hold on. On my manifesto, I say no 12 over 5s, but also don't trust San Diego State. Now I'm looking at a 12 over 5 with San Diego State. What do I do?
I don't know. I was talking to Jake while the American title game was going on. I told him I kind of like UAB in the tournament. I kind of like them win a game. We were debating seeing. I said they'd be a 12. They get the 12. I don't like this game.
I don't
like San Diego State.
I like San Diego State too. I can't do 12 over 5. I'm just not going to do it. I got to stick with my guns. I'm going San Diego State.
I wanted to take UAB, and I love Andy Kennedy, also Barcelona Invitational alums. But I'm just looking at their schedule. So they lucked out with playing Temple in the championship game.
Yeah.
They were not even in consideration for an at-large. They beat Wichita, USF, who's solid, and then Temple. But they have some bad losses. They lost to Southern Miss. I know Arkansas State made the championship game. They lost to Charlotte, Rice. I think they got a huge benefit of how the draw worked out in the AAC, and they wouldn't be a tournament team
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Yeah. No, not at all.
This
Yeah.
feels like one of those teams that had a hot week, got some luck with the draw. So just because of that, I'm going to take
But this is
the
what I said on the
Aztecs.
bracket shows. I don't think the 12s and the 13s and the 14s are as strong as we're used to them
Right.
being.
So you think it'll be more chalky?
So I do get the mindset that some of the top teams aren't as strong, but part of what makes for a great upset is the 12s and the 13s are very strong teams that are just kind of under the radar, unheralded teams, and I don't really feel like that's the case with this year's crowd.
Can I just share a few of the non-conference
Please do.
results for UAB? So they lost to Bradley, who's a pretty good MVC team. They
Yeah.
lost to them by 2 in overtime. They lost to Clemson 77-76. They beat Maryland 66-63. They lost to McNeese State 81-60.
well, that's not a bad loss now.
And
By
81-60
No,
for
but
2
the
tournament
team.
teams.
Yeah.
And then they beat Drake in overtime 79-78.
Yeah, I'm going San Diego State.
Me too.
You are as well.
Yeah.
Auburn Yale 4-13 game. Both teams just won their respective conference tournaments. Auburn in a little more commanding fashion. I have to go Auburn. Yale's not a bad team. They should have lost to Brown. They were extremely lucky to beat Brown. And Auburn, I don't love Auburn's. The more I watch Auburn, the more I actually think Bruce Pearl is a genius and a wizard because I don't love their roster. And I'm like, I don't know how he's doing this. I don't trust his guard. Janai Broom's awesome. He's He's an incredible
Former
player.
Morehead State Eagle.
Yeah.
He was in the tournament with them a few years ago.
I love him. I don't really – there's no one else. If you did like an expansion draft of players, there's only one guy on Auburn that I would draft, and it's Janai Broom. And he's not a guard, and it's a guards game in March. So, like, no part of me wants to trust Auburn, but every time you watch Auburn, it seems like they play well. So, I'm picking Auburn to advance.
I'm taking Auburn too, just like you said. They're hot right now. So is Yale, but I already hate my bracket because I have 4 chalks. I have 4 chalks.
Hold on, be patient. You got plenty of time.
I'm already overthinking it because I haven't taken an upset yet. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
It's early. It's
early.
So with Auburn, Bruce Pearl crying at the end of the SEC
that's tough.
championship.
I don't love that.
And then Janai Broom said, "We're not losing no more," which
Yeah,
also is gonna come back to bite.
I know. But last time Auburn won the SEC tournament, they went to the Final Four, and Auburn fans would argue should have won the national championship, but they didn't call double dribble on Ty Jerome. All right, moving on. BYU Duquesne.
Kane.
Huh?
DeQuince.
Oh, Duquesne. That's what we're doing.
First
around here.
via Nicky Smokes.
Via Nicky Smokes.
Yeah.
Who's double wrong with how he's pronouncing it.
So bad.
Even if you were, I don't think
So bad.
I've tried to point out to him the S is before the N. So
tried to
even if
point
you're
it out
trying
to him
to
6 days ago or whatever.
even if you're trying to mispronounce it, it's Duquesne, not
Yeah.
Duquesne.
Like in middle school, I definitely thought it was DeQuesne.
Yeah, what an idiot. I like this BYU team a lot. BYU is battle tested with the Big 12. Their offense is awesome. Mark Pope's a great coach. Nothing against Duquesne. This is not. I'm going a little chalky so far too, Jake. I promise you there are some 11 seeds I like. I don't think I like Duquesne in this matchup. I like BYU.
I like BYU too, and it's a similar thought to what I said about UAB and Yale. It's like these are all automatic qualifiers that I'm not convinced are good basketball teams. It's just they had great weeks and they deserve to be in the tournament. And I love that about Champ Week, that you can win your way in. But the thing about Champ Week is you ride that momentum because you don't get any days off. Now you get the reset. Now the coaches can scout.
Right.
It's such a different ball game.
And you're playing let's just be honest. The A-10 was not good this year.
No.
And the Big 12 is very
The top
good.
4 seeds lost before the semis, right?
Yeah.
It was a 9, a 5, a 6, and a 7 in the semis.
The
Yeah.
A-10's so bad that Duquesne won it twice today.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Liam
true.
brings up
That's
a great
true. The
point.
confetti went off.
18 minutes left.
It was scripted all along.
Day Grant's a problem, though. He killed at Miami, Ohio for a few years.
Yeah.
He's been balling out here, really good three-point shooter as well. It's a nice dominant guard to have that could take over and win a game when he could score like 20, 25 in a tournament game. I just don't think that, again, another gross AQ.
Yeah. Illinois Morehead State. I don't know how far I'm going to have Illinois going because I do sort of on the one hand I said don't trust the Big Ten tourney champ, which I wrote down before the Big Ten tourney championship was even played, so I didn't even know who that was going to be. It ended up being Illinois. On the other hand, I said don't be afraid to trust one-dimensional teams. Now Illinois' defense has gotten a lot better. But for long stretches of this season, they are an offensive-minded team. And they do feel a little one-dimensional, which might just be more a factor of their offense is so good. Marcus Damask is a cold-ass white boy, too, so that I'm trending towards maybe not paying so much attention to the Big Ten tourney champ thing. Be that as it may, either way, I like Illinois. I'm certainly not going to bet against Illinois after I watch them, even because they were down all 3 games in the Big Ten tournament. They were down by double digits, came back and won. It is impossible to put that team away. Terrence Shannon is so freaking athletic. Morehead State could be a good basketball team, but they have not seen anything like Terrence Shannon and Marcus Damask. And in Coleman Hawkins, like the whole roster, they're gonna feel like they're playing the Monstars, which is not a great analogy now that I think about it, because the Monstars did go 0-1 in the basketball games that we saw them play.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to take the Illini here too. What you said about the Big East tournament champion not making the Sweet 16 is scary, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the second round, but just on paper, I don't see it. But
It is an interesting matchup, though. I think it's a really bad draw for Morehead State, but these are 2 teams who play completely different styles of basketball. Morehead State's like 330th in tempo or something, and they just want to take threes, bleed clock, take threes, and Illinois wants to play faster, just play up and down, score 85 plus and put you to bed early. Morehead State got a bad draw.
So I'm looking at last year's bracket, as I have all chalk right now. There is always a region that is all chalk through the first round.
Yeah.
Like last year, the West region, it was all chalk. The top 8 seeds advance.
Right.
Like that's why I'm overthinking it, but the
also,
upsets stand out, but they're also not frequent, right?
No, yeah.
They're not as frequent as you want it
If you go
to
back
be.
and look at last year, it felt like insanity because we had a 15 over a 2, we had a 16 over a 1. If the Final Four was gross for a lot of
Right.
people. They were like, this is.
But in the early rounds,
a mess.
the favorites usually win.
But last year's tournament, there weren't even that many upsets. As you remember.
Furman,
there was no double-digit seeds.
Princeton,
in the Sweet 16.
FDU, Pitt was an 11, but that's not
Yeah.
crazy, and that was it.
That was kind of it. And
For
then,
first round.
and then you look at the Sweet 16, there were no double-digit seeds. So it was like there weren't really the Cinderellas you
Right.
thought there
You,
were.
you have the 9 seed FAU, the 15 seed Princeton, but yeah, 8 seed
You're
Arkansas,
good, Jake.
I guess.
You're good.
Yeah,
Jake.
I'm fine with
This
all
is-
chalk,
this is
right?
why you got to do a manifesto next year, dude, because it just like anytime.
Well, my manifesto is don't lose day one.
Don't lose day one.
Yeah.
Pick a team that's going to definitely win day one, because your head you start going crazy. You have
Right.
You have to lock in here. So let's go on to Washington State. Drake. This is a tough one for me. I like both of these teams a lot. Washington State has been a fun story in college basketball this year. Final year of the Pac-12. They're one of the teams that are one of the schools that's like left out of the musical chairs of conference realignment. Miles Rice coming back from literally cancer to play for Washington State. Kyle Smith is one of those nerd coaches, an analytics guy. Their roster, and I say this as a compliment, does not jump off the page at you, full of 5-star recruits and shit, and they still were right there till the very last couple games. I think maybe even the last game for regular season Pac-12 contention. I love this Washington State team. I have to go with Drake though. I think Drake. I wrote it down before I saw the bracket. Drake has unfinished business. Tucker DeVries is going to be the best player on the court, and I think they have they are not going to let what happened last year happen again. Where I think if this is going to be a close game, Tucker DeVries is not going to go 1 for 13 again and score 3.
They were right there.
Yeah, they were right there. So I like Drake in an upset. Although I don't know if Vegas will see it as an upset. I'm curious what the line would be, but
I have the line right here.
What is
via
the line?
DraftKings Sportsbook #DK partner, and Drake is favored by a point.
Well, there you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
I
So it's
guess
not an
1.5.
upset. Yeah, I
1.5.
like Drake. So yeah, now that we have DraftKings in our life, people get to point out that even the upset picks that I pick aren't upset.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like you said, Drake was on the doorstep last year. Washington State, great story. One of the longest power conference tournament droughts. 2008. Wasn't Tony Bennett the coach?
Yeah. Klay Thompson was there, right? Bloodman?
Was he on that team?
I was 10 years old. I don't have that recollection. I think he was there.
Yeah. I think
But either way, it's been a
Klay
while
Thompson.
for Washington State. I'm taking Drake here as well. You want to know another fun fact about Drake?
Please.
You know who hit the game winner in the championship game, the Arch Madness championship game? Connor Enright.
Mm-hmm.
You know who Connor Enright's brother is?
I think I do.
He works with us.
I
Kyle
yeah,
Enright.
Yeah.
He's on the
Yeah.
booking team with Lisa.
Yeah.
Live Events Lisa.
That's awesome.
And I remember watching the Drake Miami
Drake
game.
Miami
and
last year.
Kyle was there and he was like, "That's my brother." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?" I'm like, "No, that's my brother."
Yeah.
Then I saw Enright, and that's a nice little fun fact that one of their best players' brother works with us.
Works with us, yeah. So
Yeah.
as a company, we have to throw our weight behind Drake, right?
Exactly. And I don't think anyone here has any ties to Wazoo.
Iowa State, South Dakota State. I'm going Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State is speaking of one-dimensional teams. Iowa State they have the best defense. I think they leaped Houston on KenPom, but whether you think Houston's better or not, I mean, we saw it on the court. Iowa State certainly swallowed Houston up, but Iowa State has one of the best defenses all season. Their offense is what you worry about. When it gets ugly, it gets very, very ugly. It's been coming around lately, Jake. They've been scoring the basket for them to. I
What
don't
they
know
did to Houston.
Yeah, I don't know
yesterday
how
was
many points they scored. I
unexplainable.
don't remember what was the final in that.
It was like
Bloodman?
60-30, right?
It was bad. I don't remember the final score. I would also like to note Klay Thompson never made the NCAA tournament.
So it
we
wasn't
can just add that out.
So we'll cut that out.
69-41.
Cut that out of the live show, TJ.
69-41 last night.
They scored 69 on Houston, who you know the
Number 2 defense.
the last
in
time they
country.
played, they couldn't. Nobody could score on. No, either team was struggling to score. So I think Iowa State's offense is coming along, and I like where the Cyclones are at right now. So I got Iowa State winning that one.
Yeah, Iowa State as well, setting up the State of Iowa second round matchup with Drake and Iowa State.
In Omaha, which is not in Iowa, but
close, and
for-
you're going to have a lot of fans drive, right?
for
They're close.
everyone-
They have to be close.
everyone who lives on the coast, it's all the same. Iowa and Omaha and all that is.
Yeah, but I tweeted this out last night when they won it. What Iowa State's done with TJ Otzelberger is insane. They were
Yeah.
2-22. Then they fired
Yeah.
Steve Prohm, I think.
Yeah.
And then he comes in, and they made the tournament.
Yeah.
They made 3 straight tournaments with him. That's insane. A power conference just come in and make 3 straight tournaments. That's so hard.
He's absolutely rolling. We got to find him a T-shirt that fits or a polo that fits. But
True.
Yeah.
right?
It was small at UNLV too.
Yeah.
People forget he was there and ditched him.
Yeah. I don't think UNLV people forget it.
Can I just pick South Dakota State because it'd look cool if I got that right?
Yeah, do that.
All right, I'll take South Dakota State.
You should keep doing that. You should keep picking the small schools so we can just clip.
I've long been a jackrabbit.
Like literally, or
No.
Titus, I'll
Just
tell you
saying,
one thing.
Football team.
I feel like South Dakota State's kind of flying under the radar on your Vermont Colgate category.
yeah,
They always make
they
it
always
too.
win the tournament too, and they. What's their history? Pull up
2
their-
years ago, I remember against
I was-
Providence, they were favored, I think, or it was a pick'em. It was a 4-13 game. Everyone was on the Jackrabbits.
They got
Providence
mushed.
blew them out.
They got mushed so hard. I was so
Everyone, that was the most popular 13 over 4 I can remember 2 years ago.
upset. That was so annoying.
They're another team that always
Didn't
makes
Nate
it. And never
Walters win
wins.
one?
Nate Walters was there back in the day.
Like,
yeah,
but was that's been like
they-
15 years now?
That's
I guess
been
that's
a
the
long
problem.
time,
I'm
yeah.
old. You're right, Jake. Maybe I need to add that to the list.
They've got good players again, but I feel like again, much like Vermont and Colgate, this is one of the worst South Dakota State teams that they've
Yeah,
had
Right.
recently.
So one of these teams have to break through.
Zeke
Yeah.
Mayo's nasty though. Zeke Mayo's really good ball player.
That's why we bring Bulletman in here.
Yeah.
Liam's got his guys.
Yeah, they have a Pell too. I still believe who's also a sniper.
All right, so that's the first round of the East Regional.
East.
Moving on to the West, I know 16s beat 1s in this modern era
Yeah.
that we live in. That it's happened twice now. I still am not going to make those picks. I'm still not comfortable picking really 1s or 2s to lose. Spoiler alert: I'm going to pick every 1 and 2 to win.
Yeah, I am too. And
I don't have big enough
one of
balls
them's-
to.
One of them is going to lose.
Yeah, one.
No, it's gotten
I don't
very
think
normal that I think people are going to start picking them this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, right. And like we keep saying, like the I don't think these teams are as strong as they've been in the past.
Right.
So,
Yeah, UNC.
UNC's going to beat the winner of Howard and Wagner. Mississippi State, Michigan State. So everybody I feel like is going to pick Michigan State because it's Tom Izzo, and this is what Tom Izzo does. And I'm going to be the moron that goes against him because Mississippi State right now is fits the mold of a great. They have the great NCAA tournament recipe, which is they play great defense. And they have a guard who they can give the ball to in Josh Hubbard who can just go bananas and score 30-plus points on any given night. This Michigan State team, I have tried over and over and over and over and over and over again all season long, waiting for them to get over a hump, waiting for them to look like the team that we thought they'd be at the start of the year when I think they were preseason number 4 in the AP poll.
Yeah, we saw them in the United Center in the Champions Classic.
They've never looked the part, ever. I mean, they've never strung together 2 or 3 games where I'm like, there it is, they got it back. It's like a team like Kentucky has. Like Kentucky gets it and then loses it and then gets it again and loses it. Michigan State has kind of never had it, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the guy dumb enough to bet against Tom Izzo and Marsh. I think Mississippi State gets it done because I think Mississippi State's playing better basketball, and I think they might actually just be the better team.
I've realized I've filled out this bracket so far with a lot of initials. For example, FAU, BYU, SDSU, and I was about to start writing MSU, and then I
MSU?
realized I can't do that for this game.
No, you can. Then you'll be right.
That's
Right,
right.
MSU.
But I'll also be
He
wrong.
was having a little fun with this one. Oh,
But yeah, obviously the saying is January, February, Izzo. Mississippi State, by the way, 2-time Barstool Invitational champions. The biggest thing with them is that for the first half of the season, they didn't have the best player.
That's
Tolu
right.
Smith.
Tolu Smith, yeah.
They lost a handful of games with him as well, but I think Chris Jans gets it done here. I'm
Yeah.
on the Bulldogs with you, and that sets up UNC versus Brandon in round 2.
Ooh, that's gonna be good.
Well, Brandon's going to be playing in that one.
Yeah,
Whoa.
he's suiting up.
2 Brandon Walkers in the field now.
Is there another one?
Yeah, Montana State.
Let's go.
He's going to posterize Zach Edey. Spoiler alert.
St. Mary's Grand Canyon. I feel like this is a big, sexy 12 over 5 pick. I feel like America.
Oh, yeah.
Because
is-
the casual.
yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Liam. Say what you want.
No, you go.
No, you
ahead.
go first. 'Cause
No,
I'm
you
not making a
go
pick,
ahead.
Liam. This is why you're here. You're on my couch for a reason. I need you helping me. We're all on the same team here.
No, you go first.
Fuck's this guy.
Wow. Alpha
is he-
move.
No, you go, Jake.
Yeah,
like-
you go first.
We're just moving the ball around. We're about to get a shot clock violation because we're just swinging around the perimeter. Too many extra passes.
I like St. Mary's. I think a lot of people will see that St. Mary's and 5 seed, like small name, high seed, that
Right.
doesn't add up.
Right.
But Aiden Mahaney, I remember he had a great freshman year, and he's been great this year as well. He had 23 in the championship against Gonzaga. Grand Canyon's great. I just realized Bryce Drew and Scott Drew are in the same region.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, good call, Jake. That's why
Yeah.
he's here. He sees everything.
Yeah,
yeah, but it wouldn't meet. They wouldn't meet until the Elite Eight. But
they can.
I'll take the Gales. I like the Gales.
Hold on. I'm doing a Ken Palm coin flip right now.
You want me to be your coin flip guy?
But I asked you to. You want me to make my pick before I throw it to you? That
do
doesn't
you
make
want?
any sense.
Do you want me to take the ball now?
I need you to have the ball and tell me what to do. I need you to run the offense and kick it to me.
Well,
I'm just gonna spot up in the
big
corner.
I'm a big Lopes guy and not a St. Mary's guy at all. Or as on our bracket it said St. Mary's, which I still can't get over.
Who was
But
doing the typing on that?
Shout out Garrett. He did a
Garrett
great
was
job.
doing the. Fasoli was doing the one you were saying.
St. Mary's and
Fasoli.
Auburn. Auburn was one of
Auburn.
them.
Northwestern was 2 words.
Yeah,
It's all right.
Oh, it's all
Fasoli.
good.
Barstool difference.
He was not our first choice typer. I'll say that.
It's the Barstool.
I really, really like this Grand Canyon team. I like that they play well on both ends of the floor. They are electric. Absolutely electric. What a watch last night's game was.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I don't know why you're laughing so hard.
Cause I wrote down no 12/5s. Don't do it, Mark. I put
But
it.
they
I
have
put it in big and
Tyon
bold.
Grant Foster, and they have a bunch of other guys that were high major players that are down there now in the WAC, crushing it.
Fuck it. If I'm bringing Blutman in,
I'm
I have to
so
put
in
him
on
as-
Grand Canyon.
I can't bring you into the show if I'm not going to use you.
This is a
I'm
team
going
that hey, this is a team that beat San Francisco.
I'm going Grand Canyon.
This team, by the way, beat San Francisco and then was favored against South Carolina by like 5 points. Grand Canyon was a 5-point favorite against South Carolina. People don't forget that. I didn't forget that.
Do they forget that they lost to Abilene Christian?
I don't
A month
care. They
ago?
beat San Diego State too. They have wins over San Francisco
they
and
did
San
beat
Diego
San
State
Diego
and was
State.
favored
They
against
did.
South Carolina. That goes a long way.
Okay. All right. We're going Grand Canyon. We're officially going Grand Canyon. Alabama Charleston, the Bosco Bowl. This is going to be the most fun. I'm not saying it's the closest. I'm not saying it's the most competitive. None of that. I'm saying from a pure up and down shooting threes entertainment perspective, this is my pick for the most fun game of the first round. Both of these teams love to get up and down. Both of these teams love to shoot threes. Both of these teams love to return text from Rico Bosco. Very similar styles. Alabama just has better players, so for that reason, this is a bad matchup for Charleston. It feels like it would be a good matchup because Alabama plays the style that Charleston wants to play, but it's a bad matchup because Alabama does what Charleston does. They just do it better. So that's why I'm taking Alabama.
This is my first big upset.
Okay.
I'm taking the Charleston Cougars, who have the nation's second longest active winning streak. They've won 12 in a row. They have not lost since February 1st, so they're in a winning mindset. I think they're in that category, too, about unfinished business. I think they were a 12 seed last year, the year before.
Yeah, they were, and they were ranked in the AP poll last year. 'Cause
Yeah.
They started like 26-0 or something.
Pat Kelsey's great.
Not that, 26
An underrated storyline with this game to look out for those who have never watched Charleston. You know who sits at the end of Charleston's bench?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
His little son.
Mm-hmm.
He's like
Oh,
a
Remember the
Pat
Tron
Kelsey's
kid?
son. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like the walk-ons. You're
No,
talking about,
literally,
like,
he sits out in the bench.
Student of the game.
I don't know if he will in the tournament, but in the
he
championship
will. He
game,
was last year. He was in
Oh,
the
just
huddle
like doing
too.
like
He did
Yeah.
the crying, but he's
so
also
him against Nate Oates.
he's locked in, like
Oh,
crying up
dude.
plays
Yeah.
and stuff too.
That's awesome.
So,
I love that.
I
I
think-
love the idea of Pat Kelsey's son trolling Nate Oates.
Yeah,
Nate Oates is complaining to the refs, and he's just
exactly. So yeah, Charleston, like I
Nate Oates
said,
just
has,
fucking punches the kid in the face.
has not lost in over a month. It took overtime to beat Stony Brook in the championship, but those championship games, the nerves are insane. But listen, like one of those teams they've been here before. The coach has been here before. He's a great coach. Like, I think it's safe to say, I don't know if this is a hot take. Is it safe to say that Pat Kelsey in the next decade will be coaching a high major team?
Yeah, that's
Very
that's
safe.
very.
I
safe.
think
the next
3 years maybe.
Yeah,
the next
probably.
third. I would say the next third of a decade.
I was surprised
Yeah,
he
I would
didn't
say
get I was surprised he didn't land a much bigger job than Charleston coming from Winthrop. I thought he was ready to get one of the big high majors. Maybe not one of the big ones, but a good high major, decent one.
The next 1/6 of a decade.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that.
How about after this term?
How's there one?
Yeah, maybe
not
after,
even 1/6 if it's 10 years.
it would be a
divided by
few
3.
months.
You could say a
You could
fifth.
do a fifth. You could do a few months.
Yeah, you're
It
right.
could be.
You're right.
They were in a war with San
I don't think
Diego
it's gonna.
State
I don't think
this
the hire is gonna happen exactly to the day from
Right.
right now.
But most hires happen
it's gonna be.
in the next 6 weeks, right?
It's a good point. So it could happen to the day. Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Charleston. First big upset over Alabama.
I took him as well. I don't really think it'll happen, but I wanted to have fun.
Right.
Clemson, New Mexico. I'm taking New Mexico. New Mexico is a fun team. New Mexico. Richard Pitino is going to do what his father didn't get an opportunity to do, which is win an NCAA tournament game. The legacy play. The Eddie House's son is on that team.
Did
Jamal
you see that
Mashburg's
video?
son
He
is
was
on
like,
that team.
"That's my boy." Like, he was
Yeah.
so proud. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
I love the story that is New Mexico. Clemson. PJ Hall is awesome, and I like Clemson.
Joe Girard, former
Joe
Orange.
Girard. When Clemson beats New Mexico's ass, I'm not going to be surprised. But I'm picking New Mexico because I think New Mexico is going to get up and down, and it just feels like the right pick. But now we're in a position where we're just trusting Mountain West teams just because San Diego State
Oh
went on
no, I
last year.
forgot that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's interesting because you mentioned
It's Mountain West versus ACC, and I'm like, oh, dude, Mountain West has got this. There's no problem.
it's interesting. By the way, New Mexico favored by 2.5.
Oh, really?
In this game on the DK Sportsbook.
So I keep
DK
picking upsets that
partner.
aren't upsets.
Yeah.
way to go, Mark. You're really good at this.
You mentioned Richard Pitino getting a chance to do something his dad didn't do. We saw the first 4 out. St. John's wasn't there, but there could have been a storyline where his son knocked out his dad.
Yeah,
they were,
no,
like,
that's
the
what I
first
was
team
hoping
out.
for. But when New Mexico won,
Yeah.
that killed that idea. But yeah, it was trending towards Pitino, and Dayton. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have been insane. But I'm with you. I'm going to take the Lobos. They were a team, about a decade ago? Weren't they like a 3 seed?
Yeah, with
Way back.
Danny Granger. No, they had the big redhead kid. How do you not remember him, Liam?
I'm thinking of it.
Alex something, Kendall something, Kendall
Williams. Kendall Williams, 2012.
Williams, and who's the big redhead kid?
They had Tony Snell.
Tony Snell. Yeah. No,
Dang, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name.
now I have to look it up. Now I
Okay.
have to
Steve Alford was coaching them, by the way, who
No, I have
they made
to-
it in.
bring the show
Nevada.
to alt so I can.
But this is New Mexico's first tournament appearance in a decade, 2014. I'm just not fully all in on Clemson. I know we talked about this on the bracket show, but I think Brad Brownell kind of saved his job this year by having a solid season.
His name came to me already.
But
it was Alex Kirk.
Oh yeah.
the ACC is kind of down this year. Alex Kirk.
Yeah.
The ACC's kind of down this year. Clemson does have a win against Alabama and TCU and South Carolina, which is solid non-conference, but I think they kind of are getting protected by a weak ACC,
Yeah.
which they only went in 11-9 in.
Yeah.
So it's not like they ran through a weak conference.
They did beat Carolina and Chapel Hill. I will give Clemson credit for that.
Yes, they did.
Go ahead.
Do you remember Jamarl Baker?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he's on this New Mexico team. All he does is shoot threes.
Yeah, that's right. He was on. Was it
He's
Arizona?
on Arizona,
Arizona,
Kentucky,
Kentucky.
Fresno State.
that's
Now he's
right.
here. He's just 3-point
Yeah.
guy. I love this New Mexico team. I'll tell you that.
They're fun.
I think it's ridiculous that they were one of the Mountain West teams that they were the Mountain West team that everyone was like, well, they're on the outside. They've got to win the conference tournament. And that should have been the team that was like, they're kind of safely in.
Yeah.
Should have been safely in. This team could be a problem.
Yeah, and I'm already looking ahead at the next game. I have New Mexico playing Baylor. Baylor's playing Colgate. As I said, literally bullet point number 1 on my outlet is Colgate. So I'm going to make that one easy. Baylor moves on. Colgate has lost 4 NCAA tournament games in a row in their last 4 appearances. They've never, as a program, won an NCAA tournament game. So until proven otherwise, I'm going against Colgate.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baylor here as well. Obviously, they won the championship 3 years ago, but they've had early exits the last few years.
Yeah.
Round 2, 2022. Round 2, 2023. I feel like, obviously, you won a championship 3 years ago, but I feel like, is it safe to say there's a little pressure on Scott Drew to make a run? Not in terms of job security, but like, hopefully.
There's a little, if you're doing,
You don't want
not job security, but
you don't want to say that year was a fluke.
Legacy-wise, if you're into that sort of thing,
Yeah.
yes. Scott Drew is not will not go away in Louisville rumors. By the way, Louisville
Really?
coaching rumors. So that's interesting to me. Which I don't necessarily think he's going to take the job, but that's an interesting wrinkle. Is like if Colgate beats Baylor, does Scott Drew bounce? Probably not. Why would he bounce? Everyone's trying to hire Scott Drew for a while now. But you never know. Moving on to Dayton, Nevada.
I don't like this game. It's just like two teams that are like, meh.
I'm very curious about the spread here.
I said a month ago.
I guess Dayton at 3.5.
I said a month ago on the show that before the bracket even comes out, I'm going to put Indiana State. I'm going to put Dayton in my Sweet 16 without even looking at anything else. I have walked back both of those. One, Indiana State is not in the tournament, so I'm definitely not doing that anymore. Dayton has the idea of Dayton to me is so much better than the actual reality of when you watch Dayton. Having said all that, I still think I gotta pick Dayton because Deron Holmes is going to be the best player on the floor, obviously, and I think Dayton is a great 3-point shooting team, and I just trust Dayton to get it done. So, although it is in Salt Lake City, I see that now. They're playing in Salt Lake City. They're playing Nevada in Salt Lake City. How much does that matter, Bloodman? You're a West Coast guy. You're not unfamiliar with the mountains.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think
Okay,
it's
that's why we brought you
Nevada
in.
favored by 1.5, by the way.
I'm taking.
Oh wow!
I'm taking-
I thought they have given the edge to Day in there.
I'm taking Dayton. I'm doing it.
This is
I
hard.
took Nevada, but
This is hard. This is one of those games that like I'm not in love with either team.
I don't like either team really anymore.
Nevada's too streaky.
Yeah, they won 7 in a row and then lost. Yeah, four of their 7 losses this year came within a 2-week span. They had a really bad streak in the middle of January. I'm going to take Nevada here just because I know we talked about it earlier. The A10 stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing we've learned, you could trust the Mound West in March.
Yeah. You
to make
absolutely
large
can, yeah.
runs.
We learned that last year because one team
Yeah.
went to the national championship. Arizona, Long Beach State. As much as I want to as much as I like the idea of Dan Monson, who was fired. Long Beach State's coach was fired, but he's coaching the team in the NCAA tournament. I love the idea of him winning a national championship. If this was a Disney movie, that's what would happen. This is not a Disney movie, and I think Arizona's going to beat the hell out of him. You have some Disney character vibes to you, though, Blutman, if I'm being honest. So maybe this is a Disney movie. Maybe I'm dreaming all of this, and you are. Yeah, you feel like a Disney movie sidekick.
I don't have
Which
a
is a compliment.
response to that.
That's a compliment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Arizona here, too. This is a chance for me to get my revenge on picking against Arizona as a 15 seed.
Oh,
'Cause I
yeah.
took them to win it all
Right.
last year.
Revenge
Right.
game.
Revenge.
My own
It's a
personal
revenge. Arizona.
revenge game.
Jake Marsh versus the 15 seed.
I'm not going to do it. But now that we're halfway through, this is a perfect time to announce the breaking news that we just got tip times.
Oh, we did.
We did get tip times.
Wow.
This changes everything. We'll
This
have to
kinda does.
redo
We gotta
the
redo.
entire thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cut all this. Let's.
I know it's live, but it is important if you're watching
Oh,
this.
that's
What's the first game of the day or
The
the first game
first
of the whole tournament?
Game of the whole tournament is Brandon F. Walker.
Oh,
12:15 Thursday is
Oh.
over versus Brandon.
Oh.
CBS.
I actually thought I meant. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's exciting. The part of my take bowl will have to wait until all the way on Friday night. It's
Oh,
9:40, and then
Oh,
Duke
wow.
Vermont
They
is 7:10.
did that on purpose.
They
The
did that on
committee
purpose.
100%.
It's on
watches
CBS,
the-
by the way.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
they, know what
they
they're
did
doing.
this on
They know what they're
purpose.
doing.
Yeah.
Oh.
If there's any other team you want to know immediately, but I'm not going to read all of them, obviously. But yeah, Brandon's first, Big Cat versus PFT is last. That's basically the biggest takeaways
Wow.
from a Barstool perspective. But yeah, it's
There
exciting.
we go.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep that.
Yeah, I have it here.
handy in case
Yeah.
we need it for reference. All right, right side of the bracket. Houston versus Longwood. Blutman, I don't know if you heard my joke. I know Jake did. I don't know if you heard it on the bracket show.
Yeah,
I need you.
did
I need,
hear it, yeah.
You heard it?
Yeah, I could act like I didn't hear it.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard it.
Okay.
But I said it's Longwood versus Cougars. That's I'm familiar with that from my days in college. So yeah, thanks, Blutman.
Yeah, Brandon got me with the joke
Woohoo.
today, asking me if I like Moorhead.
Oh, you didn't know he was. You didn't.
Well, I did in the middle of it, but I said, yeah, I like
you just
Moorhead.
said- yeah.
I like Moorhead State.
Yeah.
That's how you get around it.
Houston's gonna beat the shit out of Longwood. So
Yeah.
give me the Cougars.
Longwood, by the way, second time in 3 years, their team account has DM'd me asking for address to give us a shirt.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, you know what?
Lancers.
I take it back. I don't think Houston is going to beat the shit out of them. I think they're going to win comfortably. Instead of-
Really?
yeah, I'm going to soften that a little bit. and say
I
Houston
now
wins.
have Longwood 53-49. Houston still can't figure out how to score after Iowa State put them in a blender.
Wow. Wow.
But then if Houston wins, I like Houston 83-62.
Yeah.
56 for Longwood. I changed it.
how do you have a school named Longwood? You can't. We,
There's
what, are we,
Longwood and Moorhead.
what are we doing? What are we
Yeah.
doing?
I almost got Austin P. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Who's
TJ.
coach, by the way? I love how he wears the camo.
Yeah, he did a great job at Northwestern
Austin P.
State.
Oh, the Austin P.
Yeah.
Nebraska, Texas A&M is a 8-9 game that I want no part of.
But it's a dream 8-9 game.
It is. It's going to be so fun. Texas A&M should have been better. This has been a little bit of a disappointing season for Texas A&M. I feel like they should have had a better year than they did have. But now that you're in the NCAA tournament, you can right all those wrongs. And but to have those guards of Wade Taylor, Boots Radford, they just feel like they should have been better than a 9 seed. And Wade Taylor's so good, but Nebraska's so good too. If Nebraska's hitting threes,
Can
Jay,
I make my first lock of the tournament?
you're going lock on this one?
Yep. But it has nothing to do with the winner.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Keisei Tominaga will be in one shining moment after he
I
hits
like
a
that.
three.
I like
in
that.
slow-mo.
I like
doing
that. He's
some
got
sort
his
of
hands on his
gesture.
head.
Yep.
Yeah, he puts his hands on his head. Yeah.
Are you all in with me on that?
Yeah, I like that call. That's a good call.
Yeah. But in terms of this game, I'm going to take Nebraska as well. I think they had a great season.
First of all, I didn't take Nebraska. I haven't made a pick.
As well as in
as well. Okay, I thought you were saying
bouncing off of that.
I thought you were saying
Yeah, no.
that I took.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's that. I like that. Nebraska's a fun team. I will probably. I think Texas A&M wins, but I am cheering for Nebraska.
Fair enough.
I want to go on record as saying I am cheering for Nebraska to win, but because I would love Nebraska's the only power conference school to have never won an NCAA tournament game.
Yeah.
Nebraska's still waiting, and this is the best Nebraska team in like 30 years. So if not them, who's going to do it? But
That was really unprofessional, though.
what to say? I'm going to
Being
cheer
an
for.
analyst of the game and openly cheering for a team. Ugh,
I'm going to cheer for good basketball. How about that?
love that.
And I hope Nebraska.
This is by I was going to say by far, but the 8-9 matchups this year are juicy.
Yeah, the 8-9s are
FAU
good.
Northwestern, Mississippi State, Michigan State. I'm not a fan. Utah State, TCU is probably the least juiciest, but
Yeah, that's the one I care about the least. But
the other three are really, really
the
good.
other are really good, good games.
Didn't Palm have Utah State as a 4 yesterday, and we
Did
were
he?
all laughing about that?
He had-
Or was it 5?
Oh my god,
Was it 4 or 5? Because we were laughing about it in the gambling game.
I don't remember. I was dreaming of golfing with Joe Lenardi at that.
Really?
All right, the PMT Bowl.
Yep.
The whole PMT,
The PMT
section,
pod.
the PMT pod in Brooklyn. Only one
Not podcast, pod of the bracket.
Yeah, only one team will emerge, and it's in Brooklyn. It's in New York, where
I know.
the show took off. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
But you know what the exciting thing is? One of our 4 teams are guaranteed to go to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. So we have Wisconsin, James Madison. Obviously, Big Cat went to Wisconsin. PFT went to James Madison. We have Duke and Vermont. Obviously, Hank went to Duke, graduated in 3 years, right? He graduated early.
Yeah.
Double major.
Yep.
And Jake Marsh went to Vermont, but not really.
Yeah.
Went to Vermont when Vermont is in the NCAA tournament. But then when Vermont, for 364 days a year, you went to Syracuse. But the one day that Vermont is tipping off in the NCAA tournament before they lose.
Right.
you said-
I mean, I'll say this. I have more personal connections with the Vermont program than the Syracuse program.
That's fair.
My first job out of college, for those unaware, I was the radio voice of Vermont for 2 full seasons, went to shoot-arounds, went to practices, pregame meetings, and a handful of the coaching staff is still there when I was there. So I'm pulling for these guys unlike any other team I've rooted for before, because when they lost those 2 years, I felt the pain that they felt.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you're part of the team, you have the meals, and it's like, it's such a cool experience. You obviously can relate being on the team, but it's just so cool being part of that.
Yeah.
So I've just been rooting for them ever since I left.
So here's how I'm picking this to go down. First of all, I've already picked a 12 over 5. I said I didn't want to do any of them, so I'm definitely not doing 2 of them. But also, as I look at this pod, and also I'm not picking Vermont. I mean, that's
I know
bullet
you're
point
not.
number 2 on
Yep.
my out. So I have Duke winning that game. But the funniest outcome is what is going to happen, because that's always what happens with part of my take.
Yeah.
Whatever, like, the best outcome for all of you guys to feel pain and like the funniest outcome. That is what happens. And to me, as I see it, the funniest outcome is you have a James Madison team.
Most wins in the country.
Most wins in the country. They opened their season by beating a Big Ten team on the road in Michigan State. PFT is so excited about the state of James Madison sports, both football and basketball. And the last time we saw an excited PFT as a James Madison alum was on College Game Day when he cursed the football program and they immediately lost. Yeah. I think the funniest outcome is that PFT, I feel like going into this game is going to be way more confident than Dan is.
100%.
And that's why
knows he's going to lose this game. Like
that's why Wisconsin is actually going to win this game and rip PFT's heart out. And then I think Duke is going to beat Wisconsin, which is the funny. Duke is the Wisconsin bugaboo.
And the championship game in 2015.
And I think that is the funniest outcome. So spoiler for our second round picks, I'm going to have Duke over Wisconsin in this pod.
Okay.
But I'm taking Wisconsin to beat James Madison.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The way Big Cat feels about Wisconsin right now versus how he felt 3 days ago is night and day. 3 days ago, I think if Wisconsin lost their first Big Ten tournament game, I think the whole nation would have had them losing in the first round versus whoever because they were ice cold entering the Big Ten tournament. They had a few good shooting games, pulled off the upset over Purdue despite the Zach Edey shenanigans. But I'm taking JMU. Big Cat's going to kill me. But I'll say this for Big Cat. 2 years ago, I famously did a bracketology preseason where I didn't have Wisconsin in the tournament.
That's right. You did.
They won the Big Ten, and they were a 3 seed. So you're welcome, Big Cat in Wisconsin, because when I go against Wisconsin, they perform well. So I'm actually doing you a favor here. James Madison's an incredible story. I think Mark Byington, the head coach of JMU, I think he's in that category that we said with Pat Kelsey. Within the next 12 to 24 months, he'll have a better job. He might have a better job next week this time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
With the job he's done
at
JMU. So I'm taking JMU.
That pod is one of the most sick and twisted things I think I've ever seen. How cruel is that?
Yeah.
And you just know these 2 games, one's ending at the buzzer.
I kind of hate that they're the last 2
overtime.
games of the first round. We're going to have to be waiting the whole 2 days.
They did that on purpose.
In anticipation.
But I think they did it on purpose, but also when I think of the stereotypical, pardon my take listener, and I think of a stereotypical NCAA tournament selection committee member.
Yeah, very.
They aren't exactly the same person.
No, I don't. Yeah, people are like, "Oh, it's a conspiracy." Like, I don't think the selection committee is.
I don't think it is way too perfect though.
Yeah.
And you said that it's the last game on Friday night.
JMU's last game in Vermont and Duke is the one before at 7:40.
That's crazy.
7:15.
It's crazy.
They knew what they.
You know what? I'll say it. That's crazy. It's just
wild.
Crazy. It's wild. Dare I say wild?
Yeah.
Obscene.
All right. Duke Vermont. I'm obviously taking the Catamounts here. Yeah, this is where they break through. Yeah. I feel like a blue blood always loses early.
Okay.
And Duke's my blue blood this year.
Okay.
That's gonna lose early. John Becker is gonna break through. Like you said, they're beyond due. I know you don't believe it.
No, it's fine. I'm not saying it will never happen. I'm just saying until it happens, I'm not gonna.
Okay, but I have another storyline for you.
Uh-oh.
Who was the last mid-major head coach who had suffered an injury and had to coach through that injury, and what happened to them in March Madness?
Ron Hunter broke his leg in the conference championship when Georgia State celebrated their conference championship win, and his son, R.J. Hunter, hit a shot in a 14-over-3 upset of the Baylor Bears.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. John Becker,
good.
head coach of the Catamounts, is in a sling. He dislocated his shoulder the other day. He was in a sling for the championship game. The nation's going to see that sling and be like, how can you not root for this guy?
All right.
Come on. That's crazy.
All right. That's
and even if I wasn't a Vermont fan and it didn't have these connections, that would alter my selection.
No, it wouldn't. But that's okay. But that's part of filling out the bracket. But this is why I wrote down don't trust Vermont, Mark, because I knew you were going to do everything in your power to get me to pick Vermont.
He dislocated his shoulder.
I just hope Kyle Filipowski doesn't take his anger out of him.
Yeah, you want to talk about injuries, coming back from injuries. Kyle Filipowski.
The 2 things offset?
Yeah, exactly. Texas Tech, NC State. This is going to be a fun game. Texas Tech, I said this on the bracket show. I'll say it again here. If you're just a casual college basketball fan, you might think you have an idea of what Texas Tech is. Under Mark Adams, under Chris Beard, they were a defensive-minded team. They could muck it up with the best of them. Obviously, they went to the national championship in 2019. Texas Tech is no longer that. They are more offensive. They are guard dominated. Pop Isaacs and Joe Toussaint, the West Virginia transfer.
Iowa too, right?
Yeah, and Iowa. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he's one of those guys that's been all over the place. They got smoked by Houston in the Big 12 tournament, and I don't know. I think NC State's rolling. I go back and forth on whether like NC State getting into the tournament was already like they popped the champagne. They're gonna spend all week on campus like high-fiving everybody and being like, we did it, and they're gonna forget to practice basketball and get ready for this game. But also the taste left in my mouth by both of these games. The last time I saw NC State, they had won 5 games in 5 days and beat a 1 seed North Carolina. The last time I saw Texas Tech, they lost by 1,000 to Houston. So I'm going NC State in what may or may not be an upset because I don't know what the line is in that one.
I'm gonna guess Texas Tech 4.5.
It is
Are you gonna guess or are you gonna read it off?
I'm gonna guess.
Okay. All right.
Texas Tech 5.5.
So close.
So NC State was 5 days ago, a few minutes away to losing one of the worst teams in college basketball in Louisville. NC State was a crazy buzzer beater away from being eliminated in the semifinals to Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
They're still here, but I think that ACC tournament run was a run that lasted for 5 games in 5 days. And I think we had a similar thing. Not to say they're as bad as Georgetown a few weeks ago, but Georgetown just had this miraculous run in the Big East tournament a few years ago. And then people were like, oh, they're really hot. It's going to carry over, and they just got smoked. I think the magic ends here because, like we said, like NC State, did they have a great season? No. Did they have a great week? Yes. A great week.
That's good. That's good rationale.
This week is not last week.
Yeah.
That shot, by the way, that NC
I want to
State
change
shot.
that pick, I think.
You can change it now. I feel like.
I already wrote it down, so I have to go.
I was just gonna say, remember when NC State ended Virginia's season?
yeah, I did.
Yeah, everyone thought they would.
Yeah, they
They're
did.
both
Yeah,
in.
they ended Virginia's season.
So I just think, like, obviously Burns is a great story. I'm glad we'll get to see him in the tournament. He also will be in one shining moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will be in one shining moment.
You're right.
But yeah, I think they almost lost to Louisville 5 days ago.
Is DJ Burns fat enough? Because I feel like he's a husky.
Well,
I feel like he's more husky than
he
fat.
He did lose a lot of weight. Like, remember him at Tennessee for a little, or more so at Winthrop? He was massive at Winthrop. He cut down.
Yeah,
Very impressive.
We all love. He's like a big boy, and we love him for that reason. But I don't know if he's like funny enough to be on.
Well, I do. I think he's a really he is electric though. Like his post game interviews.
He's so good.
And
he's
also good. Yeah, I meant like his
I thought
personality.
how he played. Yeah, both.
Do you see him in the handshake line after North Carolina?
Yeah.
It's great stuff. Like he is a character.
Kentucky, Oakland, Jake. I'm gonna make this easy. I'm taking Kentucky. I've been on Kentucky since the preseason. They are up and down. They're hot and cold. They're one-dimensional. There's a ton of pressure on Kentucky going into this tournament, more so on John Calipari. But I don't think the story ends here. I think Kentucky, I said this on the bracket show too, I think like the bracket breaks for Kentucky and all the Kentucky fans are like, oh my God, we're winning the national championship. We're going to the Final Four or something. And then that's when they fuck it up and they lose to a double-digit seed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the first game of the tournament. I think Kentucky wins pretty comfortably against Oakland.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. Again, my champion 2 years ago, and they burned me on day one. But if Kentucky loses this game, Kentucky Sports Radio, our friend Matt Jones, like that's going to be one of, if not the day after, the most listened to, like, entertaining
piece of
local sports radio show ever
of all time. Yeah,
because they might actually want him gone. They might already want him gone.
It's going to be as close to running a guy out of town as you can get in college basketball. Where like I actually think there might be a contingent of Kentucky fans that go to John Calipari's house with torches and pitchforks and tell him to pack his shit and get the hell out of town.
If Kentucky loses to St. Peter's and Oakland in a 3-year span.
Yeah.
In the first round. Like this is a legacy game for John Calipari.
Legacy game, yeah.
Whoa.
It's a legacy.
I think everyone would agree.
So you are taking Kentucky.
I'm taking Kentucky. But if he loses,
so in the legacy bracket for Jake Marsh, he's taking Kentucky to win the legacy game. So
yes.
If he loses, that's 2 legacies. If you end up putting Kentucky as your national champion and they lose in the first round, 2 legacies down the drain.
Then I fire John Calipari.
You personally. Florida versus the winner of Boise State, Colorado.
These are always tough locking in our brackets now because
I
usually
know,
the
it
smart
does
thing to
depend.
do is wait.
If Florida plays Boise State, I like Florida. If Florida plays Colorado, I like Colorado.
Right.
Well, we'll have time to do that. We'll probably do like a 12-hour show on just the first 4.
It's true. That is true. Okay, so how do we go about this?
You're stumped, eh?
I'm stumped. Is Colorado going to win both games? I want to pick one first 4 team to advance
Because they always do, right?
they always seem to, yeah. And I'm partial to one of the Colorado teams. So am I going to take Colorado? Or am I going to take Colorado State? Florida is one-dimensional, Jake. They don't like to guard. They're the guy. Who was the guy that broke his leg in
Yeah,
half?
Micah
Logan.
Handlogton, yeah.
Yeah, you could say it like that.
Not
too.
great.
That's probably better pronunciation.
Is that good or bad, Blutman?
He's not
To
their
have a
go-to center, right?
but
they
to
have, they have
just-
3
just-
capable big men.
But
so they
less
kinda
about the
rotate
X's and O's. I
Tyrese
mean,
Samuel's
more about the vibe of the locker room.
I think
it might
their
actually
vibe-
help.
I think their vibe got crushed today.
Right.
And now you're not SEC tournament.
Now they win it
champ,
for him.
whatever. Now it's # win it for hand.
Okay, I'm going Florida.
Me too.
I'm going Florida.
Grew up a Gator fan, taking the Gators.
Chomp,
This is their
chomp,
best team
chomp.
since they went to the
Chomp,
Elite Eight
chomp.
in 2017.
You know I like this Florida team.
I'm taking Marquette over Western Kentucky. I'll make that one easy. There
Yeah, me
there
too.
might be a 15/2, but I'm not.
Okay,
also-
I'm all in on Western Kentucky after that analysis.
Yeah.
Spent
Yeah.
3 seconds combined.
I'm
on that
taking
game.
Marquette too. Big picture though, obviously we'll be monitoring Tyler Kolek, but it sounds like he's gonna play.
I think
right?
Tyler. Yeah, he's gonna play in the tournament, but yeah, they'll be fine. Marquette's an unfinished business team, so I think all these guys came back and they lost in the second round. I think Marquette's gonna get over the hump. Which spoiler for second round pick. Purdue versus Montana State and Grambling.
Grambling first ever tournament.
Yeah, Montana State's. Both of these teams suck. And
Dude,
not just 'cause
So did
they're 16.
FDU last year, right?
No, FDU was good. FDU was so good. They beat Purdue, dude. How can you say they suck?
By the way, FDU, they didn't win their conference tournament last year. Merrimack
That's
was
right.
ineligible and they
right.
won.
That's right.
Like you could argue FDU didn't belong in the tournament last year. That's what makes this tournament so great. Things don't make sense.
What are we doing? Purdue's winning.
Yeah.
Purdue can't lose to a 16 seed.
Does Matt Painter get fired within 24 hours if they lose this game?
Matt Painter gets murdered within 24 hours if they lose. Actually, not really. Purdue fans are totally fine with losing to 16 seeds. I don't think they'd have a
Can
problem.
we say that?
I think Purdue fans would clap it up and then explain on Twitter why everyone's wrong for thinking that's an embarrassing loss.
Can we
Oh,
say
yeah.
that there's a chance that Purdue's down at halftime? Because
Yeah,
if
like
you go back to
Virginia.
Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb was the 16 in Virginia's second year after losing to the 16, and
Yeah.
they were down at halftime.
Purdue
They came
cannot
out
lose.
tight.
Purdue cannot. Purdue will not. There is no world in which Purdue will lose to a
What about
16
halftime?
back-to-back
You
year.
think they come out
There's
tight?
Purdue is going to win by 40. There's no world in which they even have a close call
Ooh.
because it can't happen. This is-
Brandon Walker's got 19 at half. Montana State up 36-31 on Purdue in Indianapolis. Everybody tune in. We're not watching Vermont Duke anymore.
I think that's also great for Purdue, the fact that Indianapolis is a sub-region.
Oh, that they scripted that one long ago.
That's
They were waiting
clutch.
for this.
But
okay. I don't. Okay, never mind. Cody's texting.
Uh-oh.
Cody, I know you're watching this. So why did you text me that? Anyway, okay, moving on. Did you see that, TJ? Yeah. In the Mostly Sports chat?
Yeah.
I mean, I might as well share with the class now. Cody, who's a producer on this show and Mostly Sports, just texted me a picture of Grady Dick and Anthony Black doing a jersey swap. So they're holding them up, and the jerseys say Black Dick. With no context. It sends a,
what?
we're doing the live bracket show, Cody.
I believe that someone took a picture of that the other week at a Raptors game or something of them like
it's not
on
even-
the bench. Well, it was a different
Oh,
circumstance. There are multiple circumstances of this.
All right. I just lost my focus. Utah State TCU 8-9 game. This is the 8-9 game I care the least about.
Yeah.
But both these teams are obviously not bad basketball teams. I've been leaning way too much on the Mountain West. I'm gonna go TCU. But I truly don't care as much as I do with the other 8-9 games.
All right.
But I'm this is a conference pick. This is a Big 12 over Mountain West
So
pick.
my pick in this comes down to, have you been there before?
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Dixon's been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Sprinkle has too, but he hasn't advanced before.
Okay,
So I'm taking TCU.
Okay. But that was a little confusing, though, because you're like, it comes down to who's been there before, and then you said both.
Who's
guys.
been there before in terms of who's
Okay.
had success there before.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
got
that
I
does
got
not make sense. But Jamie Dixon, like, there's these legacy coaches that have been around in college basketball at multiple stops just like the last 20 years, and you're like,
Yeah.
you just trust them to win in the tournament.
TCU's been there before. They just made the college football playoff national championship
right.
recently. Think that'll help them win a big game here. Maybe make a run? I don't know. I'm not spoiling anything.
Gonzaga McNeese is easy for me. One of my bullet point number one is put Gonzaga in the Sweet 16 no matter what. They've been to 8 straight Sweet 16s. They've not lost a first-round game since 2008. My bullet point number 5 on the out teams is McNeese State. They don't make free throws. Michigan, I said this earlier, but Michigan might be the best team they played all season. Yes, they do have a ton of wins, but that's – I mean, if Michigan is arguably the best team you played all year, that is a sad state of affairs with that schedule. And I think Will Wade has one foot out the door, and I think Will Wade has been fielding a lot of phone calls in the last week or two about interest from other schools, and his eye is not on the ball. This one's easy for me. I have Gonzaga beating McNeese.
So you could say that McNeese has one of the most wins in the country at 30, but I'm looking at their schedule. You want me to read off their first 4 wins, how they started 4-0?
Please, go ahead.
First was VCU. Respectable. Almost made
Yeah.
the tournament today. Biblical studies.
Yep.
Sounds like a class, an elective class in college. Champion Christian and Le Tourneau.
Yeah, Murderers Row there.
They also
They
on December 5th, they beat the Mississippi University for women.
Yep, and there was a
92 to 23.
nasty poster in that game. Probably one of the best pictures from the season.
Oh, like a dunk.
Yeah.
I thought you meant there was like a misogynistic poster about the Mississippi University for women.
Like you said, their best win is Michigan. And Michigan
Yeah.
just fired Jawan Howard. They
Won 8 games this year? Yeah.
They were horrendous.
Yeah.
The Southland is not a great conference. Will Wade's a great coach. He literally squeezed every little bit of juice out of this team. But Mark Few.
Yeah.
I think, and I said this on the bracket show, this is their best chance to succeed because this is the first Gonzaga team we're going to see that has no pressure.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they've been in the spot. Yeah, so
yeah,
we're aligned in that. Gonzaga. Yeah. Kansas, Samford. Blumman, can you sell me on? Do we like Samford? We don't. We like. I said I don't like Samford, but
we have the same thoughts, Mark and I. I'll talk for him here. Give his voice a little break. Both of us didn't care for Gonzaga or Kansas. And then we also did not care at all for McNeese State or Samford. So fitting, those 4 teams are in a pod. One of them has to go to the Sweet 16. One of them has to win a game. 2 of them have to win a game.
Yeah.
We don't want this. We're not here for this. We don't care about them. Well, we care about them because something fun will happen. But, I don't think either team's ready to build for it.
Yeah, I want to pick upsets because I do think I'm getting a little chalky here, but I got to do Kansas. I don't like the Samford hype. I'm going Kansas, but Kansas doesn't have depth, and I don't.
What's the deal with Hunter?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, we should probably figure that out, right?
Yeah, because he's their best player.
He's supposed to play. I think he's going to play, but also, who the hell knows?
Hunter's doing great. He's actually practiced the last 2 days.
He's practiced the last 2 days. Okay.
But, I don't know.
Him versus Georgia.
Because they tried playing without them in the Big 12 tournament. They got waxed, right? Who did they lose to? BYU this week?
Cincy.
Cincinnati.
Cincy got red hot.
Samford can hit threes. But they can't. They don't make free throws. I don't know. I think Kansas wins, but I also don't care. I don't care. I don't like any of these.
Bold prediction for this game is that people are gonna meme Rylan Jones.
Who's that?
Samford guard.
Why?
How so?
You'll see.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So,
I'm gonna take Kansas too. Bill Self. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be a very popular upset pick too because people are gonna be like, "Oh, the injuries."
yeah. Right.
And
Right.
Samford's like
Yeah, and
sexy
then
pick,
they'll
have,
get their
28
All-Americans
wins?
back, and they'll just beat the fuck out of Samford. And yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, so rock.
South Carolina, Oregon. Dana Altman's been here before. Dana Altman has not too long ago won a Pac-12 tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. If memory serves, they were a 12 seed that year, and then they went to the Sweet 16. That was 2019, I believe. And then they lost to Virginia in a close game. Very similar vibes with this Oregon team. South Carolina has had a hell of a year, but I think South Carolina, who just lost by 1,000 to Auburn, I think South Carolina is not as good as they. How do you say it without calling them frauds and overrated? But I think
Their
they
peak is behind them.
yeah they did a hell of a job to get this far, but I don't think they're actually a serious national title contender, a serious Final Four threat. I'm gonna trust that Dana Altman has Oregon rolling right now, and he gets the win over South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to go opposite here. I'm going to take South Carolina, and the reasoning is dumb, but the reasoning is the last time the Final Four was in Phoenix, South Carolina was a 7 seed and made the Final Four.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying they're going to win at least a game.
Okay. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, they were a 7 seed, and no one had them coming, so
Yeah.
why not?
That checks out. Creighton, Akron. I'm torn on Creighton because I say I'm out on the finished business teams, but I'm in on the unfinished business teams. And Creighton went to the Elite Eight last year, took San Diego State down to the wire. Could have the what if in my head is that UConn destroyed everybody in non-conference, but they lost to Big East teams, And what if Creighton takes San Diego State's spot and it's Creighton, UConn in the national title game? Maybe Creighton could have won a national championship. They were right there. They were so close. So that part of me thinks they have unfinished business. But then the other part of me thinks, what a hell of a run they had to the Elite Eight, and maybe they're just satisfied with that last year. Either way, I don't like this Akron team as much as I'd like, because last year I trusted Kent State to I want to trust the MAC team.
Indiana.
Yeah, and then Indiana had their way with Kent State. So I'm out on the MAC for a little while. I'll get back in a few years, but I'm out on the MAC right now, and I got Creighton.
That's fair. They need another Jason Preston type.
Yeah. The MAC was on a roll there for a while. They were winning first-round games like crazy.
Now they're gifting arch rivals bids to the dance, which is kind of weird to do, but yeah.
So Akron, and I know we haven't dove too much into Champ Week games so far. That was one of the crazier finishes we saw this weekend.
Yeah, that was brutal.
You could argue that they got very lucky to get here because Kent State fouled Akron when they were up by 1. Didn't have any fouls to give. Akron made the free throws. Another Barstool Invitational alum. I love John Gross.
He was my assistant at Ohio State.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I like the little vest he wears.
Yeah, really nice guy. Because the first year of the Barstool Invitational, they lost to Mississippi State, but we saw him in the tunnel afterwards. He's like, we lost, but this was a great event. Thank you guys. So
oh wow, nice.
I like that. Yeah. But Creighton,
Having said all that, Creighton.
Yeah, I mean, Akron won the MAC tournament, but in the regular season, their last 2 games, they lost to Eastern Michigan and Western Michigan, 2 of the worst teams in the MAC.
Yeah.
One of them at home. So, Creighton.
All right, we got 2 more first-round games. Texas versus the winner of Virginia, Colorado State. I want to pick a first 4 team, so I'm going Colorado State to beat Virginia. And then we have a Max Asmus, Isaiah Stevens showdown. And I hate that I'm picking all these Mountain West teams, but if Max Asmus and Isaiah Stevens play, that would be a fun game, right?
That would be
and
very fun.
I'm just I need more upsets, so I'm going, and I want to do a first 4 team to advance, so I'm doing Colorado State.
I like your thinking
Colorado
there.
State to beat UVA and Texas both.
I like your thinking there. In terms of UVA, Colorado State, everyone hates Virginia.
I know they're probably gonna,
and that's why I'm taking Virginia.
They're gonna win 49-40.
That's why I'm taking Virginia to beat Colorado State, and that's why I'm taking Virginia to beat Texas.
And then Virginia.
It's so ugly that no one else is gonna.
No, you know what? If Virginia beats Texas, if Virginia wins 2 games, I'll be back in on Virginia. I'll just be like, I'll just lean into the absurdity.
You gonna beat Tennessee?
Yeah, maybe.
That
I'll just
Virginia's then going to set Rick Barnes basketball back a few years, and it's going to be a 47-46 grinder of a game. Yeah, Virginia's probably going to go to the Sweet 16.
I'm taking Virginia to make the round to 32 here because no one else is.
No one else is. You're right. Yeah, it would be funny if Colorado State Virginia was actually an awesome
85, 82.
No one else but me and Marsh is taking Virginia around to 32.
Yeah.
There you guys go. You're doing it. All right. We'll rip through the other ones now. Since We don't have to spend as much time talking about these because they're
Tennessee, obviously.
First of all, Tennessee St. Peters.
St. Peters deserves their flowers. Second time in 3 years.
Yeah. There's your flowers, St. Peters. Take them.
Yep.
No, get the hell out of my tournament.
Oh, that was mean.
Round of 32.
The run that they went on to beat Fairfield,
was awesome.
Though.
It was
awesome.
awesome.
Well,
they beat the run 2 years. Right? The run.
I'm talking about the run in the game against Fairfield, where Fairfield just kept chucking threes and St. Peters was down 39-29, and then just went blistering hot. They didn't miss a shot for like 6-7 minutes.
All right, we're on to the second round, and we're not going to have the same matchups, so this is where we start to have – we don't have to spend as much time because also these matchups might not even happen. But
a lot of them probably won't.
I'll go first. UConn Northwestern. I do think Boo Buie. This is a bad matchup for UConn in the sense that Boo Buie does have that feel of a guy who can just go bananas and single-handedly win games. I hate that, and that would scare me if I was UConn. But also, you're UConn. You're the defending national champ. You're the number 1 overall seed. The confidence is sky high. I think. I'm very curious what like the ESPNs and the Yahoos and all these bracket hosting sites. I feel like 40+% brackets are going to have UConn win it all. I just feel like UConn
a lot of people will,
just has the country by the balls right now, and for good reason. They're playing great basketball. Even when they don't play great, they still play great. Against Marquette, they couldn't hit a shot for 8 minutes at the first 8 minutes of the game, and they still pull away late. And it's not even really a close game in the end. UConn's going to beat Northwestern. That's what I think.
Yeah, I have UConn FAU, which was you were watching that game with me in Houston. Easily could have been the national championship game last year.
Yeah.
If FAU doesn't lose at the buzzer to San Diego State. This is interesting because I want to have the balls to do it, but I don't. UConn.
It's UConn.
Yeah. FAU, like, it would not shock me if FAU beat UConn, but I don't have the balls to do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me,
that's the hard part, dude. You want to pick upsets, but we don't have.
But again, there's not going to be as many as we want, as we expect, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be chalk. There's going to be 2 or 3 really big upsets the first round, but at the end of the day, like, the majority of the national champion contenders will survive to the first weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
All but 1 or 2 of them.
All right, San Diego State Auburn is what I have. It's gonna be a rock fight of a game. I think San Diego State is a finished business team. I think I think Auburn's just better. I think Auburn's proven it all year. I think they've been more battle tested. I think San Diego State did go to the Final Four last year, but I think that's part of. I don't think they're as hungry this year, and I think Auburn is hungry, and I got to go Auburn, which I have a 1-4 already out of the gate, so we're very chalky.
I'm with you. I'm with Auburn, but I hate having UConn and Auburn are both conference tournament champions.
Yeah,
and I told myself I set a reminder on my phone this time last year. It said, do not take more than 1 or 2 conference tournament champs going deep. What's considered going deep? Elite 8 or Sweet 16?
I would say
Elite 8, right?
Elite 8, yeah.
Okay, so it's safe to have 2
Sweet
in the Sweet 16.
But then it starts to get dicey.
Yeah, okay. So last year, do not take more than 1 or 2 conference tournament champs going deep. I took 2 in the Sweet 16, but we're classifying that as not deep enough yet. So Auburn.
All right. I have BYU Illinois.
I have the same matchup.
I want to do it so bad. I want it so bad. But Illinois Terrence Shannon looks so good. Damask looks so good. BYU's offense is good. This is going to be an offensive explosion. What do I do? So I have Illinois. Don't trust the Big Ten tourney champ. They've missed the last 3 Sweet 16s, but also do trust the cold-ass white boy, and don't be afraid to trust the one-dimensional teams. Oh, God. I need some upsets. No, I don't.
Remember, there's always going to be a chalky region.
There's always going to be a chalky region. There's always going to be one. There's always going to be
always is.
There's always going to be one, Jake. There's always going to be one.
So far for me, it's the East.
Hey, Titus.
What?
Tails.
All right, it's Illinois. It's Illinois. Thank you, Plutman. That's what I needed to hear.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's what I needed to hear. You're my coin flip guy.
That's just how.
I think it's going to be a great game.
How you do a coin flip.
That one's tough. That one's so tough. Go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
What I learned from both you today in terms of the Big Ten tournament champion not making the Sweet 16, you said 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row. Yeah, Purdue last year, Iowa the year before, Illinois the year before.
2 years ago, I took Iowa in the Final Four after they won the Big Ten tournament.
Right.
And it backfired, and I still think about that today. So I'm taking BYU.
Yeah, BYU has length. They have the offense. When they're hitting shots, they look really, really fucking good. But same can be said about Illinois. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is starting to fall apart. I might be done. You know what?
Brackets busted.
No, I think I'm just gonna stop here.
Thanks for
everybody watching. Iowa State Drake.
Battle of Iowa.
I have to do it. Battle of Iowa. I think Iowa State is obviously the better team. Iowa State plays the best defense. I think Iowa State is the way better team, but I want to mix it up, and I think Tucker DeVries might be the best player on the floor in this game. And I think that it's just them going to the Sweet 16 makes a lot of sense to me. In the Missouri Valley, I said I wanted to put Indiana State in my
should be a too big league.
Indiana State in my Sweet 16. Indiana State didn't make it. Drake made it in their place. So I'm gonna in memory of Indiana State, I'm going to put Drake in a big upset over Iowa State to advance to the Sweet 16. An Iowa State team that is very good, an Iowa State team that I understand is red hot, just completely dismantled the number one team in the country. But as we keep saying, one of these conference champions is not going to look good. One of them's not going to keep the momentum.
For me, that's
going.
Illinois.
And for you, that's Illinois. For me, that's going to be Iowa State.
Okay.
So there you go. Move it. So who are you taking in your game? You have Drake and Iowa State.
I have
as well,
Drake,
right?
Iowa State as well. Oh boy. You know what? The last few years, I've really leaned on recency bias and conference tournament champions, and I'm going against that this year. So I'm taking Drake.
You're taking Drake too?
I have a BYU
boy.
Drake Sweet 16
Oh
matchup.
boy, there's the bulletin board for Iowa State.
That's 3 of us with Drake.
Get the clips ready.
You too?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Send them to Ames.
I
Send the
forgot
clips
to say this
Ames.
in terms of big storylines in the first round. Iowa State versus South Dakota State. TJ Otzelberger
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. Yeah.
came from there.
The Otzelbolger.
Nicely.
Good one, Blutman. That's why
So
we're here.
we are idiots because Iowa State, just because of what just happened on the show, they just locked up the bid to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, they're
Disagree.
Why?
Drake is so good offensively. They're very good defensively as well, and they keep you off the offensive glass. They're the number one team in the country when it comes to limiting offensive rebounds.
that's why he's here. He
Yep.
gave us confidence. Good
Let's
pick.
go,
Good
Drake.
pick.
William.
Let's go,
pick,
Drake.
We are Drake.
Good pick, Jake. Good pick, Drake. All right, North Carolina, Illinois haven't been to a Sweet 16 since 05.
Also, I will say one more thing on that game. I have a reminder in my phone from last year. Do not take a preseason unranked team that end up getting 1 or 2 seeds.
Ooh, that's a fun nugget.
I don't know what caused me to write that down, but Iowa State was unranked.
Oh shit!
So,
dude. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
write that down.
Preseason unranked 1 or 2.
I don't know who it was last year to cause me to write that down. But do you like that one?
That's a great
kinda
one.
love that one.
Does it work?
Iowa State.
But I know I was.
Oh,
I'm saying in the past, does it work?
Let
There's a
me-
reason
let
I
me-
wrote it down. So
Let me
check.
look.
I mean, it makes total sense, but you're just kind of saying a thing, and I don't know if there's like data to back up that it actually works, or if it just.
There's a
feels right.
reason I wrote it down. We can go to the next region.
All right,
I'll
we'll go
find
to the
it.
next region.
I'll
We'll
find
figure
it.
it out. Blutman, work on that as we're doing.
I am working on that, but it probably was not from last year if it was the first.
Maybe it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
All right, North Carolina, Mississippi State. This is a. Oh wow, this is a battle of Christmas. Christmas goes to the past and present for me with my co-host. I think North Carolina is the weakest 1 seed. I think if I have to pick a 1 seed that's going to lose early, it feels like them because I think Houston, Purdue, and UConn are all cut above the rest of the field, which is why Carolina was literally the 4th number 1 seed in this field. I like the matchup for Mississippi State. I think this could be a good game. I certainly think Mississippi State can win. I mean, they just beat the shit out of Tennessee, who was a 1 seed. Tennessee was on the 1 line. This was Carolina took Tennessee's 1 seed basically by Tennessee losing to Mississippi State. So this is basically Mississippi State needs to do to North Carolina what they already did to Tennessee. I'm going to do it for Brandon.
You're taking the Bulldogs.
I'm gonna do it for Brandon.
By the way, backtracking a little bit,
So
Marquette last year.
It was Marquette.
Marquette was a 2 seed.
They were unranked.
They were
preseason.
unranked in the preseason.
That's
And
right. They were
and they
picked
did
to
not
finish,
get out
like-
of the
they
second
were picked
weekend.
to finish
First
like
weekend.
9th in the Big East. Yeah.
They had a great
And-
season.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
my bad. I was only looking at first round.
Good job, Blutman.
Yeah, just to not make it deep.
Thanks for nothing.
That's
Um,
that's my bad.
Can't wait for you to tell me about the fucking wingspan.
So, you know what,
on the
guys?
Center
I
of a
thi-
16 seed.
This is gonna make us look
Oh,
This is gonna make us look
Matt
even
Kelsey.
dumber. But now I'm even like, I'm more confident in that Drake pick by all of us.
Yeah, right. No, the manifesto says it. I just wrote it
Yeah,
down. Yeah,
yeah.
I added this. This is a late add to the manifesto. Preseason unranked.
There's
number one.
always a 1 or 2 seed that overachieves
You're
and
right.
ends up getting bounced early.
You're right.
I'm taking UNC.
Yeah, that's
Not ready to
smart.
pull the
That's
trigger
smart.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm taking Mississippi State so I can blame Brandon if it doesn't happen.
Fair enough.
Grand Canyon and Alabama.
I have an opposite matchup.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
St.
so
Mary's Charleston.
I have.
I have the other matchup: Grand Canyon CFC.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
that means TJ has Grand Canyon, Alabama, or St. Mary's, Alabama, is the fourth possibility.
I do have that.
Yes,
Yo,
he
what?
does.
What the heck?
So we have the
Seriously?
4.
You already filled out your bracket, and you have. That's crazy.
I do.
So
oh
the
no, TJ, your entire bracket's spoiled now.
Lee-
TJ's a lot more efficient with his. He just clicks some shit and
Yeah.
puts the bracket out.
I don't
Jake and I-
remember why I chose any of the things that I chose, but I will stand by them and die with these.
Did you do anything zany?
I got McNeese State in the Elite Eight.
Holy moly!
Oh,
They beat Purdue.
and Duke, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I like Duke.
We should have just done this, but we're doing a 2
Oh, TJ, with
A
me, you
2-hour
have BYU,
podcast.
BYU
Good.
Drake.
Yeah.
Can we just spend the rest of the time analyzing TJ's bracket? This is sick.
No answers for this decision.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon, Bama. I think. Dude, what have I done? What have I done?
It's crazy because, like, you know how in fantasy
I can't
football
do Bama, Mississippi State, and then have one of those two go to the Elite
they
Eight.
have rotisserie leagues where it's like the best teams advance or the best teams get rewarded. Here, it's like the Sweet 16 is not the 16 best teams. It's
No,
it's
dude.
matchups and all of that.
But this is the part of filling out a bracket where you look up and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I got Grand Canyon, Alabama, or Mississippi State in my Elite Eight now?
You picked Mississippi State to beat.
Yeah, you did.
I
Yeah.
missed that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I pick that?
I was
he
researching
can-
soup, so I just missed that.
He said he can blame Brandon.
Dude, Mississippi State just beat the snot out of Tennessee.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
missed that. I was looking at
But
soup.
you're saying it like it's a bad pick.
No, it was like I missed it. Like I wasn't there for it because I'm
You're preparing.
in deep depths of broccoli cheddar.
All right, I'm gonna pick Alabama to beat Grand Canyon, and we have Mississippi State, Alabama.
Well, there's
you want me to pick
Ryder.
Grand Canyon?
You're a rider.
Well, I want
See.
Brandon versus Rico. Would be
You know what? You know what?
That would
that would be
fun.
awesome. To go
Your
to the-
Twitter handle should be Titus SEC.
That's true.
Like it was B Walker.
That is true. I should. Yeah, I got a lot of.
Mississippi State.
Also,
Bama.
I
And you have Auburn,
I will
right?
say, I think the SEC was the most fun conference and maybe arguably the best conference this year.
no, it was kind of verified. It was the Mountain West.
The committee.
Also, a note on Alabama, Mississippi State. Rico's suspension would be up.
Oh, for that game.
Oh,
this
for
would
the
be
stream.
the first game back for Rico.
Rico
It'd be
versus Brandon?
Rico versus Brandon. Yeah. That's not why I'm making that pick. I think Alabama is going to win against Grand Canyon, so that's why I have them advancing.
So I have the opposite. I have St. Mary's Charleston. I'm going
Okay.
St. Mary's here.
Clash of styles.
Yeah, I'm going to. I have too many fireworks with Charleston. A 13 seed making the Sweet 16. I don't remember the last time that's happened.
That
Like
feels
13 over 4 is usually happens every year somewhere,
Yeah.
but then they usually fall out. So I'm gonna go the Gales.
I have Grand Canyon, the Sweet 16.
Nice.
I would love for them to send me a T-shirt.
All right, New Mexico Baylor. This would be a fun game, dude. This would be up and down, a lot of offense.
I have the same matchup.
I think I think the fact that, kind of using the same logic I used with Charleston, Bama, I think that New Mexico can catch teams off guard with how good they are offensively, but I don't think they're going to catch the style that this game, the style that we get from this game will suit both teams, but Baylor has the better players, so I think Baylor's going to win the game. That's why I'm taking. But then that's why I'm going to cross Baylor out now. What does the manifesto say? I can't figure this out, Jake. I'm on the fence. I fucking hate doing this, dude. Because fuck. I'm going New Mexico. I changed my mind. New Mexico.
Love that.
New Mexico. I changed my mind. I think this is my region of chaos. I think the West is chaos. I think chaos abounds, and it's New Mexico.
Does the West region stink?
It kind of does. It
Yeah.
kind of does. Yeah. I think.
They also just put so many West Coast mid-majors in there.
Yeah. I think the West is the weakest region, so it feels the most ripe to be the region of chaos. So I'm going New Mexico, and I have an 8 and an 11 in my Sweet 16. Go ahead, Jake.
Okay, so I have more chalk. I have the 1-5 so far. And I'm going to keep the chalk going here. Because remember, in the last region, for balance sake, I have BYU Drake. So I have a 6-10. So that's a lot of chaos already. So
That's
I
a
don't
lot
feel
of
bad
chaos.
about going chalk down here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Baylor.
I have New Mexico.
You have a crazy
My
bracket.
bracket's bad.
Bracket's bad.
Oh, it gets worse.
Stinky bracket.
It's way worse.
Arizona Dayton's going to be an awesome game. I like the idea of. I want to do Dayton, dude. That'd be awesome. Just lean into the chaos. But Arizona is an unfinished business team too.
Princeton last year.
They're not gonna. I think they're gonna at least make the Sweet 16. Can they get over the hump and make a Final Four for the first time since 2001? I do not know, but I think they're gonna at least make the Sweet 16.
I'm taking Arizona. I think these guys are going to have a chip on their shoulder after what happened last year, the early exit. I think they're going to the second weekend.
So the New Mexico-Nevada Sweet 16 matchup dream is dead.
It's dead. Sorry, Blutman.
We can't get the Mountain West game everyone wants.
Houston A&M. Two teams familiar with each other in Texas. This will be played in Memphis, right? Yeah, this is in Memphis. I think Houston. Never mind what happened to Iowa State. I'm not going to have Houston win my national championship, but I think Houston has been the best team. Was up until the loss against Iowa State, which, to be fair, was the last game they played. I thought Houston was the best team in the country in the totality of the season, and I have to believe that was a wake-up call, the Iowa State game. They're going to lock back in and make the Sweet 16. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I'm taking Houston as well, and I'm scared because, spoiler alert, I'm going to have Purdue advancing as well. I feel like every year one seed gets bounced in the first weekend, and both of us don't have that.
Yeah.
So we're going to get screwed somewhere.
I had Mississippi State.
Oh, yeah.
I had Mississippi State.
Sorry.
So, I feel good about that. I think that must have been what I was thinking. Like, one of these one seeds has to lose. I don't think it's the top three. So I'm going Carolina, who will probably lose to Michigan State. Now that I think about it, Michigan State will beat Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm taking Houston.
You're taking Houston. I already said earlier I'm taking Duke to beat Wisconsin because that just makes the most sense content-wise, and that seems to be how the PMT universe operates. Duke beating Wisconsin. Kyle Filipowski, as he's walking off the court, looks into a camera and says something to Big Cat, and then Big Cat just spends the first 45 minutes of the next PMT talking about that.
Yeah, I hate Duke
I can
so
see
much.
it all. I can see it all.
Yeah, you're probably right. I have the opposite matchup. I have the 12-13. I have James Madison in Vermont. So when Vermont beat Syracuse in 05, Sorrentine, they did not win the next game. I think Vermont over Duke is the upset. And I think Vermont uses all of their energy there. I think James Madison has a legit chance. I'm picking JMU. I hate picking against Vermont, but I can't go with my heart too long. But JMU, if you were telling me they're in the Sweet 16 2 months ago, you'd be like, they have second weekend potential.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have the Dukes here, and PFT's in the Sweet 16.
There you go. I mean, it checks out to me. I mean, that would make
yeah, it wouldn't. You would not be shocked, right?
No. They're definitely good enough, and they have played the big boys. A lot of these small schools that you get excited about, you actually look back at their resumes and you're like, have you even seen a basketball player taller than 6'8" all season? JMU has, and on top of that, Jake, Appalachian State is not in this tournament. So they lost them two of their three losses were to App State.
Yeah.
So there is that. Moving on. I have NC State, Kentucky. I think the road ends here for NC State. I cannot quit this Kentucky team. I have loved them all season. I love them in the preseason. I love the roster. I love Reed Shepherd. They don't play defense. They can be a mess with their lineups. It is going to end horribly wrong for them at some point. But I have to just ride the wave, man. I've been in love with this Kentucky team all season. They're so fun, and I have them beating NC State. And a fun game. And two fun teams.
Kentucky as well. I think these players, they're going to be more locked in than ever this first weekend because they know with Cal. They lost in the first weekend last year too, right? I know they lost to St. Peter's 2 years ago, but didn't they lose in the round
They
of
lost
32 last year?
They lost to Kansas. No, they beat. Yeah, they lost to Kansas State. They beat Providence in the first game because Ed Cooley had a foot out the door.
Yeah, you're right. They lost to Kansas State.
And then they lost to Kansas State.
So if Cal doesn't make the Sweet 16 3 years in a row,
yeah,
that's bad.
They're going to kill him. They're going to actually kill him.
Yeah, I think it's more than the Oakland game. Like we were saying, if they lose to Oakland, they might kill him.
Yeah.
But I think if they don't make the Sweet 16, they might.
They're going to also kill him. They're going to kill him.
So for that reason,
I think Cal just might die after this time. We just don't know when it's going to happen.
I took Texas Tech, so it could be there.
Kentucky, Texas Tech. That's true.
I took Texas Tech to beat Kentucky.
Oh, to beat Kentucky. So
yes,
they're going to kill him.
I'm a big similar profiles guy over there on the Torvik. Texas Tech Elite 8 Marquette team from 2013 they have a similar profile with, as well as 2017 Oregon, who went to the Final Four. So I kind of like Texas Tech.
All right.
They shoot the three very well.
They do.
They've got two 40% plus snipers.
They do. That
And Pop Isaacs is a big shot taker and maker.
That's a great point, Blubman. Now you make me want to. No, I can't. I've already written down NC State was going to beat Texas Tech, so I'm sticking with it.
Ooh, that's okay.
Florida Marquette. I think this might be my chalk region. I think I'm going Marquette. I have 1-4-3-2, and I'm fine with it.
yeah, that's my West for me. I have 1-5-3-2.
I'm going chalk on this one. I think Marquette gets over the hump. Shaka Smart has not been to a Sweet 16 since he went with VCU to the Final
Right,
Four.
you mentioned that.
It's crazy. That's something that's like my. It's not my favorite, but it's just like it's always a stat that you throw out and people are like, that can't be right, and then they look it up and they're like, well, I'll be goddamned.
Yeah.
He has to get over the hump with this group. He has to. If Tyler Kolek is healthy, they are going to beat Florida. And I like Marquette. So Marquette.
Yeah. When the Gators beat Alabama on Friday, I tweeted, the bracket doesn't come out for another 48 hours, but I will be blindly taking the Gators to make the second weekend.
So you got to do it.
Sticking by that.
You got to do it.
My hometown team too. Not hometown, but childhood team. Walter Clayton's awesome.
Yeah. And
they have Tyree Samuel from Seton Hall.
Right.
I know the Micah injury is he's not going to play, I would assume, but again, I think that's a thing where you rally for him. And we've seen teams make runs where they lose a player.
You start the hashtag, you get trending, good stuff happens.
That's true.
Didn't Nova make the Final Four 2 years ago without Justin Moore, or was it without Gillespie?
Justin Moore tore his ACL in the final, or tore his Achilles in the Final Four. But,
it was in the Final Four.
Yeah.
I also honestly I think Marquette's kind of a good matchup.
Or no, it was right before the Elite Eight game was over. It was towards the end of the Elite Eight game.
Okay.
So then they had to go into the Final Four.
Like the last play.
It was like the last.
All right. Well,
but they rallied those last few seconds to.
Right. I'm gonna change my Twitter handle to J Marsh SEC because I have Kentucky, Florida in the Sweet 16.
There you go.
I do think Florida could run with Marquette.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Like outscore them too. Which leads to winning again.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and if Kolek's not 100%, like
I think that was implied, Blutman, when you said they could run.
It's a good matchup. Is what I'm saying.
When you said you could run with them, I didn't think they were just going to go do cardio together.
Well, they could maybe like a team hotel before. So, well, they have different hotels, but they can meet up. Whatever. You never know with these NCAA.
That would be weird if you were like they can run with them, but they're going to lose by 30.
It could have been like 112 to 110.
Okay. Right.
But yeah, like I think Florida could run with them. I think Florida could outscore them. I think Florida could shoot the 3 better, shoot the 2 better. Ultimately, maybe beat them.
You love this Florida team, don't you?
I hate it.
You want to tongue kiss this Florida team.
I don't like how much I like.
You're glowing talking about.
I don't like this. They're gonna lose.
Look at
They're gonna lose to Texas Tech. They're gonna lose.
You don't want to see what Blutman's bracket looks like.
It's bad. Change it. Change it. I'm able to change it. It's the only team I bet to win.
Purdue, TCU. I have Purdue winning.
They're another. If you don't get out of the first weekend map,
they're gonna get out of the first weekend. I think they get redemption.
Playing an Indy too.
Gross. I took TCU. You guys are.
Did you actually?
Yeah, you guys are
You
cowards.
have too many upsets. I'm taking Purdue.
I hated what I did with this bracket.
Dude, everybody's gonna love your bracket more than ours.
I had Creighton in the final last year. Close.
Yeah, you were. That's what I said. They almost beat San Diego State. Gonzaga can't. Oh, Gonzaga to the Sweet 16. That's one of my.
Yeah.
That's one of my things. Gonzaga to the Sweet 16. So.
I think if this holds, this will be the most
Gonzaga.
intriguing second round matchup, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Gonzaga is not that good this year, but they've been playing better. Kansas started out really hot, has fallen apart. They don't have much depth. But
Yeah, we don't
have,
know the status of Hunter Dickinson and McCullough too, right?
Yeah, but the McCullough too. But the Kansas starting five could be the best starting five in the country if they're all healthy and
Yeah.
and good to go. But
I'm taking Gonzaga.
They're running on fumes right now.
I really think Mark Few playing with no pressure and that team is.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be out on them because everyone's. I think there's a thing I'm thinking of. Let's call it bracket fatigue.
Okay.
Kind of like what you said with
Love
Colgate and
that.
Vermont, but this is for the higher ranked teams. People always have Gonzaga going deep, and they never really made it deep aside from the bubble tournament. So I think people are just giving up on them, and that might be when they strike.
There you go. Oregon Creighton, the Dana Altman special here. I think Creighton's been so up and down. They're such a make shots team. They always are, but like when you catch Creighton and they're hitting, they got 3 dudes that are averaging like 17 a game or more. Kalkbrenner and Trey Alexander and Shireman.
Kalkbrenner Dante is going to be a phenomenal
That'd be
match.
such a good matchup.
You're the big?
Oregon's been there. They've done it before. They made the Sweet 16. I'll go Oregon because I said Creighton was the tricky one for me. Do they have unfinished business, or was the run to the Elite Eight their finished business? Was that it?
Yeah,
I think that was the finished business.
Year.
They've never made a Final Four. This is the region of teams that are looking to get over the hump. But I think so. So I think when you look at it, you're like, it's going to be there's going to be Purdue, there's going to be Creighton, there's going to be Tennessee, and one of those is going to break through and make the Final Four. But there's always people that fuck that whole thing up, and I think I think Dana Altman's gonna find a way to have a repeat of 2019. You're looking at the Purdue 2019 part where they're trying to repeat Virginia's 2019. I think Dana Altman and Oregon are trying to repeat their own 2019.
Yeah, man, this is tough. Like we said this on the bracket show, I don't trust any team in this region.
Yeah. No, this is the worst one to fill out because you look at it and you're just like,
But one of them has to break through.
one of them
right?
has to go to the Final Four right now. Yeah, I mean one of them. I guess you trust Gonzaga because they're Kansas, I guess, but
I hate this.
those are the 2 least trustworthy Gonzaga and Kansas teams we've seen in recent memory.
Quack, quack.
You got the Ducks. Of course you do. So I have South Carolina Creighton. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this.
10
Oh,
seconds,
man.
Mr. Marsh.
I'm taking Creighton. Taking Creighton. Let's just move on.
Let's just move on. You don't seem to like it.
No.
I have Colorado State, Tennessee. I'm trying to find some parallels here. Dalton Connect's a Colorado boy. Played in Northern Colorado. Colorado State didn't recruit him. I assume. I don't know. Nobody really recruited him. I like Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee as well against Virginia.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I don't
That's
have the balls
going to be a
to take
disgusting game. That's going to be
I don't have the balls to take Virginia in the Sweet
yeah, it's
16.
Virginia to the Sweet 16, yeah.
Yeah. Also, like having a Virginia team in the Sweet 16, it's one thing to have them in the round of 32, but having a team that I can't change now because of our rules that might lose on Tuesday.
Right.
It's like that would ruin my bracket
Right.
a lot. But like if I lose a first 4 team in the round of 32, that doesn't crush my bracket.
Yeah.
But yeah. And again, I'm allowed to change it in terms of like bracket challenges, but in the sake of the show.
Yeah.
Sweet 16.
All right, let's move on to the Sweet 16. I have UConn Auburn as my first game in the East, my
Me
top
too.
game in the East.
Mhm.
Auburn's feisty. Auburn's good. Auburn has proven it. I think you give Bruce Pearl some time to scout heading into this game. It's going to be a rock fight. I do think UConn you can catch UConn off guard, like feeling themselves a little bit, and they have every right to feel themselves, but that worries me. Teams do not repeat as national champions. I thought about writing that down, that like, what run are we on right now of teams that win national championships, come back the next year feeling like they're in a position to win a national championship? Baylor in 2022 lost to Carolina.
Yeah,
it was an
second
8
round.
seed in the second round. Like there's been a recent history of these teams. Virginia, we didn't have a tournament in 2020, but in 2021, that was the Jason Preston game, right, Bloodman? Was that 21? That was the COVID game. Jason Preston at Ohio University in Assembly Hall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I see the argument for saying UConn is when you're the defending champ and you're number one and you're feeling good, that's when they catch you off guard because you kind of let your guard down. But I just look at two teams and I'm like, you're asking me which one's better. I think UConn is better, and I just can't bring myself to go against UConn. I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win the national championship. I have no idea where I'm going to go with this. But every time I look at UConn in this bracket, I'm like, yeah, they're considerably better than this team that they're playing. So I have UConn beating Auburn to advance to the Elite Eight.
Oh, this is tough. Because the defending champion thing and the number one overall thing, I feel like the number one overall seed always leaves early.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, last year the Sweet 16, that's when
That could be one for the write down.
Number one overall always leaves.
You had Bama; they lost in the Sweet 16 last year.
Yeah. Was Villanova number one overall in 18?
I think
I don't know.
that stuff just gets lost, man.
I know. Oh, Plumman's over there just fucking hitting the bong, and it's just what was the way you delivered that line? You're like, I don't know, man, and all this stuff just kind of gets lost.
2 years ago, Gonzaga, number one overall seed, lost to Arkansas. So there is a stretch of the number one overall seed losing in the Sweet 16.
Right.
But then again, I look at this region, and I already have the number 2 and the number 3 out.
Mm.
So if I pick Auburn
Jake,
to take down UConn,
do it, Jake.
this is the chaos.
Dare to be great, Jake. Do it. You want to do it, Jake?
I'm doing it. I'm taking Auburn over UConn.
Oh my God.
Everyone is going to have UConn in the Final Four in this region.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So you're gonna look like an idiot when you don't.
Or I might be smart.
Or it might be smart. I don't know, dude.
I don't know either.
That's why it's called March Madness. We
But,
don't
like,
know.
Do you see what I'm saying? That, like, this is going to be the most popular Final Four pick by percentage. is UConn.
Sure. So this is a value pick for you. You're like, I'm
Yes.
the one guy who called UConn, and everyone else, everyone else goes, there goes my bracket, and you're going to be rubbing your hands together, and you're going to say, not me.
But Auburn might be out against Yale. But now it's Auburn. I have Auburn, BYU, and Drake
Yeah.
to go to the Final Four.
I mean, Auburn. Last time Auburn won the SEC championship, 2019. We're getting a lot of 2019 parallels here.
Yeah.
So it's 5 years ago. There you go. I have Illinois Drake to go to the Elite Eight. Okay, so where do we go with this? Illinois, Drake. So I think trust Drake, but now this might be a little too far to trust Drake. Illinois, I can trust, but Illinois has been to one Sweet 16 since 05, and I already have them back in the Sweet 16. But if they were to play Drake straight up, what looks better, Butler, if I pick Illinois or Drake?
It looks way cooler if you pick Drake. And then I was just thinking, how's the reffing gonna be? How many calls is Terrence
Shannon gonna get?
Because you've pointed this out better.
He's a free throw merchant. He is. He's a free throw merchant.
Words
Yeah.
are tough.
Yeah,
When
what
you
I-
say-
yeah. I think I'm trying to think of like what happens if I'm wrong, and
If you're wrong, it's okay. Nobody will be mad.
I'll go. I'm gonna go.
This is so hard.
Fuck. Fuck. What am I doing? Blubman, which one?
Heads.
I gotta go Drake. I'm gonna go Drake. I
Tails.
want to go one crazy one in the Elite Eight, but
Tails.
okay, you said Tails. I'm going to Illinois. I'm going
Tails.
I'm going to
Oh,
Illinois.
three straight tails.
changed it.
I changed it.
Tails 4 in a row.
I'm going back to Drake. I'm going back
Oh
to
my
Drake.
God!
I'm going back to Drake. I'm going back to Drake. I'm finished with Drake. Drake, done. It's Drake. It's Drake. God's
Drake's
plan.
locked in.
Whoa,
God's plan.
Look at the matchup.
Look at the dogs.
Huskies and Bulldogs.
Oh,
Look at
Huskies and
those little
Bulldogs.
dogs. What the dogs doing?
I'm going Drake.
That's actually a sick matchup.
I would love that game.
Just the logo. Well,
I hate that
let's
I
go
hate that I just
back.
did this.
UConn logo.
Okay.
I hate that I just did that, but go ahead.
It looks so cool though.
I'm taking Drake in the Elite Eight too.
What the?
I have Auburn, Drake in the Elite Eight.
We're getting crazy.
Well, remember, I did have them against BYU, so a little bit more of a favorable matchup.
That's no one can say shit to me because I do have a double-digit team in my Elite Eight pick, I think.
Oh man,
Right. Which allows us for chalky later on.
Okay, this is
that was the only one where I went normal. I took Illinois.
you took.
Can I change that?
No, dude, you made me change twice.
I want to be with you guys on Drake.
You can change it. Change it.
TJ,
Change it.
change that, man.
He's putting in the call. He's changing it. I have Mississippi State, Alabama, which is absolutely disgusting to think that one of those programs, according to me, will be in the Elite Eight. I hate it so much. What happened when they played? What happened when they played?
I'll look
I gotta
right
look it
now.
up. What happened when they played?
Looking.
Bama versus Alabama.
Alabama won 82-74, and Alabama won 99-67.
Yeah, Alabama's better than Mississippi State. Or who are we kidding? They won. When did they win 90? When was that game? 90.
The blowout was the later game, Saturday, February 3rd.
February 3rd. Okay, seeing that now. That was at Alabama, yeah. And then at Mississippi State. Okay. I know it's hard to beat a team 3 times, but Alabama's better than Mississippi State. And frankly, I shouldn't even have Mississippi State this far, so I'm going to pick Bama just because they have a puncher's chance. And I told myself, don't be afraid to trust the one-dimensional teams. But then hold on. There's a note here that says except Bama.
Really?
Yeah, I missed that. It says right there,
Oh
except
my
Bama.
God.
Fuck.
Oh, you're gonna have such a bad time watching Pat Kelsey's kid cry at Nate Oates now.
I'm changing that one. I'm changing it to. No, I can't have Mississippi State. Fuck me, dude. I'm going Bama. Whatever. Who cares? I hate everything. Go ahead, Jake. I'm just gonna stick with Bama. I don't care.
All right, so I have North Carolina versus St. Mary's. I had a 4 beating a 1 earlier with Auburn over UConn. I'm not going to have it here. I'm going to have UNC in the Elite Eight over St. Mary's.
UNC in the Elite Eight. All right, this is starting to get serious. It's starting to get real, dude.
Yep.
It's starting to get real.
Is it?
New Mexico, Arizona. Actually, that one's easy for me. I'm just putting Arizona. I have Arizona winning that one. What are we laughing at? You have New Mexico?
I might have to change back to Illinois because I have New Mexico. This is why I'm the worst at these. Guys fall in love with the mid-majors.
You watch so much mid-major basketball that you just fall in love with all of them.
Yeah, it's bad.
And I'm the opposite. I watch all the power conference things, so I fall in love with them. Jake, who do you have?
What's my favorite thing about March Madness?
Storylines.
Wild meter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the wild story.
Well,
those two together.
yeah.
The wild stories.
And I came on the show. I sat in the seat preseason. And what did we talk about?
Yeah, we talked about Caleb Love versus North Carolina to go to the Final Four.
And the fact that we get that opportunity,
Oh
I'm
my
taking
God.
advantage of it.
Oh, my God.
Arizona to the Elite Eight.
That's a good pick, Jake.
What would he shoot
Hope
in
so.
that game?
I don't know.
Caleb Love, 8 for 26
Yep.
with 24 points. Yeah.
Very accurate.
And Arizona will win, and he will be named like MVP of the game. All right, I have Houston, Duke. This is my chalky region, the South. Houston's going to beat the fuck out of Duke. Duke is – Kyle Filipowski will be limping by the first time out. Houston is – when I think of like, quote-unquote, national title good team, like the national title contenders, which Duke isn't really, but kind of, sort of has been all season, there is not a team in that mix that has a more defined culture than the Houston Cougars, and there is not a team in that mix that has less of an idea of what they're trying to be than the Duke Blue Devils. I think that Houston not only beats them in the basketball game, beats them in the fight, beats them in the will to live. I think Houston versus Duke gets ugly early and stays ugly, and Houston wins.
Okay, I have Houston, James Madison. But JM's use run ends here. Houston the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
It's just like, I feel like
It's a
when
bad
double-digit
matchup for James.
seeds lose, they lose in grand fashion. They just get blown out
Yeah.
for the most part. Like Oral Roberts, I know Max A. Smith almost made a buzzer beater to beat Arkansas, but when they run out of gas, they run out of gas.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we'll see here.
Yeah.
I took – this is flying under radar. I took Duke to beat
Duke in the
Houston.
Elite Eight.
They're going to have so much fun making sure everybody knows how much fun they're having, how good they're playing, and we're all just going to be sitting there watching them talk their talk, and we can't do anything about it.
You just want Duke and Kentucky in the Elite Eight, don't you?
No, because I had Texas Tech being Kentucky.
Oh, that's
Similar
right.
profiles.
That's
Don't
right.
forget.
That's right. Bart Torvik. Torvik taught us that. I have Kentucky and Marquette in the bottom half of the South. Yeah, so it's pretty chalky at this point. I have 1, 2, and 3 left in the South, and I am in love with this Kentucky team. I'm in love. So it's just a cold ass white boy off. I'm flipping the coin on this one. Who has the colder ass white boy? And I am deferring to Blutman.
Kolek or
Tyler
Reed
Kolek or
Shepherd?
Reed Shepherd. Who's more of a cold ass white boy?
Tails.
Okay, it's Kentucky.
Tails again. That's actually 6 in a row for Tails. Tails again. 7 in a row. 8 in a row for Tails.
Are you actually on a?
Yeah, heads now.
Oh,
Google.
dude, Jake. This whole time I thought
He was
Blutman
flipping a coin.
No, I didn't think he was flipping a coin. I think he was just in his head saying heads and tails.
Oh my god.
I thought you were.
Oh man, I should have done that.
I have Kentucky beating Marquette. I think John Calipari. I don't know if we want to say gets over the hump, but gets his team to the Elite Eight, and everyone doesn't kill him.
Gets back to the hump.
Gets back to the hump. He's not over the hump, but he's back at the hump. Good call, Blumman.
So I have Kentucky, Florida here, and the 2 times they played each other this year, they were thrillers. The Gators won at Rupp Arena in overtime.
That's right.
That win I think locked it up for them. That was
Locked what up?
a bid.
Oh, the bid.
Yeah.
Looking back on
January 31st. Yeah, so they won at Kentucky in overtime, 94-91. And then in Gainesville, Kentucky won 87-85. So 2 very competitive, tight games, 1 possession. Round 3, man, I'm taking the Gators to go to the Elite Eight. I really think
it's a homer pick. Yeah.
them losing to Auburn, I think was the best thing for them.
Okay.
Because if they won, I feel like everyone would be on the train. But I feel like people are going to jump off now.
Them having one of their players like snap in half is actually a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with it. Yeah, that makes sense. And the conference familiarity is
Yeah, it's
definitely
huge.
works in their favor.
Micah Hanlogton, I mean, he's a solid. He's started pretty much the whole season, but he hasn't played more than 23 minutes.
So if you were going to pick a guy on the team to have his leg break in half, that's the guy that you would want.
If you
I'm
weren't
not saying
picking
that.
like a guy on the end of the bench
Yeah.
doing it celebrating,
Yeah, the guys in the rotation. That was a good guy to have.
I mean, I took the Gators over Texas Tech, but I kind of want to pick Texas Tech because of the profiles thing. But I don't know. I'm just basically, if a team goes on a run nobody expected, I probably had it and called it.
Yeah.
I played the game the right way.
Purdue Gonzaga is my matchup in the
Me too.
Midwest.
Do you have Creighton, Tennessee too?
I have Oregon, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
I had Oregon beating
Well, we
Creighton.
both have Purdue, Gonzaga.
I think
This one's tough
this one is tough.
because it's like
Gonzaga doesn't have the horses for Edie. Purdue's going to win that game. I think Purdue is. I understand. Like in the same way that everyone's going to pick UConn to go to the national championship, everyone's going to pick Purdue to lose early. So that's kind of my zag.
Yeah.
My zag pick. Funny enough, they're playing Gonzaga, and I'm not.
I like
my
that.
zag is Purdue, but I think Purdue is better suited for a longer NCAA tournament run than they have been in years past. So I think they're going to flip the script and make it to the Elite Eight again this year. 2019 parallels, Jake.
Yep.
They made it to the Elite Eight in 2019.
If not now, never. Literally with Purdue, right?
Yeah.
If not
Yeah,
now, literally never.
Yeah, hopefully never.
Yeah,
Unless they have a fun player sometime soon. I don't know.
yeah. I'm not cheering for this, Blutman. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying I think this will happen.
Yeah, you could cheer for a TCU Gonzaga rematch of 2023 second round. That was a good game.
That was a really good game.
Really good game.
I have Purdue, Gonzaga as well. I'm taking Purdue because they have to. They have no other choice for their program.
Yeah.
But
They can't. Yeah, they're not going to lose before the Elite Eight because if they did that, then they'd have to. I mean, can you imagine West Lafayette if they don't even make the Final Four? Oh my God, that's one of the biggest failures. In terms of like stretches we've seen in college basketball for programs, that would be to have all that hardware, to have all those Player of the Years and Big Ten championships. And to have no Final Four appearances, that would
Yeah.
be one of the biggest failures in college basketball history, really. So I think Purdue's going to roll for sure. Oregon, Tennessee is my matchup. It's Dalton Connect for me. I want to see Dalton Connect versus Zach Edey so badly. They're not going to guard each other, obviously, but to have the two best players in college basketball this year playing against each other, or the two most productive players, we'll put it that way, because I don't know where Zach Edey ranks on the actual best players, but I want to see Purdue, Tennessee. So I'm doing Purdue and Tennessee meeting in the Midwest.
I have that as well. I'm having Tennessee over Creighton, and that was one of the best Sweet 16 games ever.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When they played in the Sweet 16,
Yeah.
Ryan Klein went crazy.
Yep.
For Purdue. All right, we're here.
Who's coming to Houston? Who's coming to
this
Phoenix
is it.
with us?
Who's coming to Phoenix? I got to go over my. So I want to have one-dimensional team in the Final Four. That's a note that I wrote. So I'm looking at it now. Bama might be the pick. Bama might have to be the pick. I got Houston. Kentucky could be the pick, though. We have Purdue. We have Tennessee. Okay, so I think I got to have Bama or Kentucky in my Final Four.
How many of the 8 do we have similar right now?
I have UConn, Drake, Bama, Arizona, Houston, Kentucky, Purdue, Tennessee.
We have 5 of the same.
We have 5 of the
That's a
same
lot.
8. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're just keep picking the best teams. So.
Yeah.
My Elite Eight would have college basketball fans irate, disgusted at what is out there.
What is it?
UConn, Drake, North Carolina, New Mexico, Duke, Florida, Tennessee, TCU. They would not be happy.
That's not that bad.
That's
That's not
I
that
like
bad.
it. It's
That's
fun.
not that bad. Yeah, it's
I like
fun.
it.
It's not. I mean, it's not like you got Morehead State and
yeah.
Uh-oh,
UAB,
here
yeah.
comes St.
Yeah,
Peter's.
you don't have St. Pete. You're not getting.
Sorry, Corey Washington. You're not making a run.
All right, UConn, Drake. Can't do it. Sorry to Drake. We had a fun ride, but
Loser.
UConn is just an absolute buzzsaw. I gotta put UConn into the Final Four. What say you?
I have Auburn, Drake, so we both have Drake. But Drake, yeah. I
Midnight's got to strike for
they have to.
way,
But
yeah.
again, sometimes like Loyola a few years ago, the
Yeah.
mid-major makes the Final Four. But
Conference connection.
I have Bruce Pearl. I have Bruce
Missouri
Pearl
Valley.
going to the Final Four for the second time in 5 years. They did it in 2019. They were a 5 seed, so they were kind of slept on a little bit.
Do you
Here they
think
are as a 4
Do you
seed.
think Bruce Pearl would cry after winning an Elite Eight game against Drake to go to the Final Four?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want. I
He
was just
cried
going.
during the SEC tournament.
I was just. I was hoping to get someone from Titus there, but whatever.
So I have Auburn going to the Final Four after winning the SEC tournament.
You have Auburn in the Final Four after winning the SEC tournament. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, just because you win the tournament doesn't mean you can't go to the Final Four, maybe.
Right.
Maybe
right.
just
Think about
by
it.
the way, it doesn't even disqualify them from winning at all. It's just most
Yeah.
of the time the champion didn't win at all. That doesn't mean it never happened.
7 of the last 9.
Yeah, 7 of the last 9, but twice
Right.
it did, so it could still happen. All right, I have Alabama, Arizona. I want to put I want to put Arizona in the Final Four, but
In Arizona.
I want to put a one-dimensional team in the. No. Tennessee. Okay. I'm seeing it now. Tennessee can qualify as my one-dimensional team because all the SEC teams are kind of one-dimensional. I have 3 SEC teams in the Elite Eight. How am I going to do this? I am going Arizona to the Final Four. I'll figure out how I fix the rest later. But Arizona to my Final Four. I think they get over the hump. It is going to be in Arizona. They lost to a 15 seed last year. I think redemption is in store for Arizona. They're the redemption story no one's talking about because everyone's so focused on Purdue. They have some stinky losses. This is sort of a big year for Tommy Lloyd too because he has like the I don't know, like Ryan Day's getting this in football where it's like one of the hottest starts to a career ever, but yet by win percentage, but yet everyone's like, why is this guy not getting over the hump? That's what Tommy Lloyd is for Arizona. So I think he's got to get over the hump. This is a big year for him. So Arizona to the Final Four out of the West, and they're going to have home court advantage with it. Not only once they
LA.
get to the Final Four, but being in LA sets up nicely because there aren't a lot of West Coast.
Does
teams.
UNC travel as well as Duke?
UNC travels well, yeah. They'll have a good crowd there, but Arizona will have the advantage.
So I have this is my chalk region. I have 1 and 2, UNC Arizona, the Caleb Love game. So 2 years ago, UNC made a surprising run to the championship game as the 8 seed. They obviously ended Coach K's career. And then they come back, and they're the number 1 preseason team because they have all those guys back.
Yeah.
And under the spotlight, they flopped.
That was the loudest drink ever, Bloodman.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, apologies.
Go ahead, Jay.
Last year, no, it's okay.
That's my bad.
Last year, number 1 preseason, they flopped.
Yep.
This year, they're in a spot where I think people expected them to be last year preseason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
they have some similar guys, R.J. Davis, Armando Bacot, and obviously Hubert Davis leading the way. And I think this is the year that UNC gets to the Final
Wow.
Four. 1 year after.
Wow.
1 year behind schedule of what I guess
1 year
was
behind
expected.
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, you got the storyline game you wanted. It checks out with in terms of Arizona getting to an Elite Eight and then losing.
Yeah.
That's an Arizona thing to do. And having the path, like once Arizona gets to the Elite Eight, every Arizona fan's like, holy shit, it's happening, and they're buying
Yeah.
their tickets to the Final Four up the road.
They don't have to book
and
flights
all
this
that.
time.
Yeah, they don't have to book flights at least, but yeah, I mean that part checks out. Houston, Kentucky is what I have in the South.
Houston, Florida for me.
I think. What did I say? Houston. I don't want to put Kentucky. I'm trying to now think through national title pick, Jake. We're trying.
I know,
to
we're
see the
there.
whole Picture.
We're,
We're
like-
starting to get there because, like, if you want to. I don't think I want to make UConn win it all. I really don't want Arizona to win it all. So I'm thinking my national champion is going to have to come from the right. And it can't be Purdue or Tennessee. It just can't be. It can't be. It just can't be. So I think Houston is going. I think Houston might have to be my national champion. I don't know, dude.
You said multiple times Houston cannot be your national champion because they got smoked.
By Iowa State.
But
Yes, you said it. You know you said that a team that's lost by 28 or more.
right, okay, I'm not picking them to win the national championship. I'm picking them to go to the Final Four. That's it.
Okay,
I'm picking them to
okay.
beat Kentucky. They're going to beat Kentucky. That's it. We'll reevaluate after that.
So every year, the last few years has been a surprising Final Four team, and no one actually picks that. Like teams make Elite Eight runs, but no one last year had FAU or San Diego State in the Final Four.
Right.
2 years ago, no one had UNC in the Final Four.
Right. And let me guess, Jake, your surprising team this year is going to be your childhood favorite team. The team you cheered for in your childhood. The team you watched bring back 5 starters in 2007 when it's an unwritten rule in college basketball. If you win a national championship, one of you motherfuckers has to get out of here. And they bring back 5 starters and run the whole goddamn thing back and cost me a national championship ring. That's the team that you're going to put through the Final Four. Let me guess.
Houston wins.
Thank you, Jake. I love you.
I love the Gators, but like
Thank you, Jake. I was going to get fired up there.
that would have been too crazy of a
too
bracket.
crazy. That's
Like
too
right now,
crazy.
I have a 4, a 1, and a 1.
That's too much wild. I mean, I know you're the wild guy.
Yeah,
but, like,
and I've
that's
had
too
some of
much.
those, but like
Yeah.
we said, at the end of the day, contenders are at the end.
There's no way Florida could beat Houston. There's no way.
All right, I have Purdue, Tennessee,
I have Purdue, Tennessee as well.
which we hate.
We both hate it. It's two teams that are trying to get over a hump. Tennessee has never made a Final Four in program history. Purdue has not made a Final Four since 1980. They played each other in 2019 in the tournament when they both had teams that were good enough to go to a Final Four. Purdue beats Tennessee, then loses to Virginia, and Virginia gets to be the team that goes over the hump. I have said all season that this Purdue team is going to the Final Four. I didn't like it. I'm not going to cheer for it. I think that's what they're destined to get everybody feeling like it's a 2019 Virginia story, and then they're going to lose once they get to the Final Four. I have said that nonstop the entire. I said it preseason. You can pull the tape. I've been a broken record saying that. I'm going back on everything I've said all season, and I'm picking Tennessee to beat Purdue because my manifesto right here says I need I need at least one one-dimensional team in the Final Four. UConn, Arizona, Houston are a little too balanced for me. I need a Tennessee team that is still, even with Dalton Connect, is still very much a defensive-minded team and struggles to score at times. And I think they are going to be my one-dimensional pick. Dalton Connect is my cold-ass white boy of the year. Cold-ass white boy in the Final Four, takes down Zach Edey in Purdue. Tennessee, first Final Four in school history.
This
Cool.
is so hard. This is so hard because both of these teams choke in the tournament,
Yeah, yeah,
and we're stuck with picking one of them to go to the Final Four.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. You got to pick one, Jake. You do have to pick one.
I can't believe you went back on that take.
I know. That was stupid. Why did I do that?
You're gonna win the national championship.
But we have a lot of footage of me saying that, so I think it's still. I'm just playing.
We'll have a compilation once they get into the final.
But I'm
four.
playing both sides, TJ. So now, like, even if I'm right,
Yeah. You did call.
you know what I mean.
You didn't believe in it. Stand for something, or what does it say?
If you got to stand for something or fall for anything. Aaron Tippin's dad said that. Go ahead, Jake. 10 seconds, Mr. Marsh.
Purdue. But here's the thing. Even if I took Tennessee, it's like, wow, I have Tennessee in the Final Four. But either way, it had to feel like that, the way this region shaped out.
Yeah, exactly.
It had
That's
to.
how
So, like,
that's how the Midwest looks, which is why
I'd rather feel the way we feel right now than be like, yeah, my bracket's great. Like,
it's going to be Gonzaga or Kansas, or it's going to be like fucking Akron or
but
something.
now,
Or McNeese. It's going to be McNeese out of the Midwest.
Yeah,
It's
will
going to be
we?
McNeese.
so I have a decent amount of upsets, but I have 3-1 seeds in the Final Four. Is that crazy?
No, dude, because who else do you have? What's your
Auburn.
Final Four? Auburn and 3-1 seeds.
Yeah.
I have 2 1 seeds and 2 2 seeds. So
Okay, so
it's not that crazy. You're
Yeah.
just picking the best teams. To
2015, it was 3 1s and a 7 in Michigan State.
Dude, we have
2008, all
Drake
4
in the
1
Elite
seeds.
Eight. No one can tell us shit.
And I have Florida, too. Yeah,
Yeah.
screw that. Okay.
No, dude, you're good.
We're good.
You're
Final
overthinking
Four,
it. You're
Phoenix.
overthinking it. You're overthinking it. And you
We'll
have
be
Auburn.
there.
You have a 4 seed in your Final Four. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's never has that ever happened, Bloodman? A 4 seed in the Final Four? Work on that as we finish this out here. Okay, so I have UConn, Arizona, in Final Four game number 1. Arizona's going to have the home court advantage. UConn's going to have the defending national champion, and we're simply a better team advantage. I hate the idea of either one of them appearing on my line because I think both of them are prime candidates to lose early for different reasons. One, UConn is a defending national champion. We talked about that earlier. Huge target. Maybe they're overconfident. Someone sneaks up on them. Arizona, meanwhile, and it says so right here, Arizona is Arizona, and that's what Arizona does, is they do not make the Final Four.
Mhm.
And the idea of Arizona playing a national championship, if they played, okay. Fuck it, dude. You got to be bold sometimes. And I think picking Arizona to win is going to look so much worse when Arizona loses in the second round to Dayton. Like, I trust UConn to go further in this tournament than Arizona, so I'm worried about that. But this is the problem, Jake, is like we're too far in our heads with all this stuff. We gotta just roll with our gut. I'm going to Arizona because I just want to. The idea of picking the defending national champion to go back to the national
It's so
championship
chalky,
game is
yeah.
it just doesn't sit right with me.
And a lot of people are still going to have it.
Yeah, they're still gonna have it. So I'm going Arizona. I think Arizona makes it to the national championship.
Okay, I have Auburn, UNC in semifinal number 1, and I'm taking UNC. I think, like we said, like I had the 4 seed in the Final Four.
Yep.
The 4 seed. Okay, you made the Final Four.
Yeah.
But UNC. Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yep.
To the national championship.
Yep, for the second time in 3 years.
How about that? North Carolina lost to Auburn. We keep bringing up 2019. North Carolina lost to Auburn in 2019 when they were a 1 seed. And Auburn was what seed was Auburn in 2019 when they made the
5.
Final Four? They were 5.
Yeah. They almost lost to New Mexico State in a 12-5.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
They made the Final Four.
All right, I have Houston, Tennessee on the other side. So wait a minute, Blutman. I can't pick Houston to win the national championship.
Mm-mm. You've
I
made
can't-
That clear.
You're going to have Tennessee playing for the national championship?
I can't have Tennessee win the national
Nope,
championship.
you've made that clear.
Oh, boy. So congrats to Arizona.
Fuck, dude, no,
You
go
said
back,
you
go
can't
back.
have Arizona because
can't
you
have
said
it.
Arizona is Arizona.
Arizona's there. I gotta do, dude. Fuck, go back. Rewind. Go
You
back.
also said no to UConn.
Oh, you're throwing away your bracket. What are you doing?
There goes my bracket.
How about,
First bracket
Wait,
busted.
hold
confirmed.
on. Arizona.
would it be so bad if you took Yale?
Arizona's
I
not.
have Auburn in the Final Four.
Arizona's
Yale's
not
gonna
winning
win, by the
national
way, folks.
championship. Arizona's not winning the national championship.
It's got to be Drake.
It's gotta be. I gotta
gotta
go
be
back.
Drake.
Okay,
Gotta be Drake.
I gotta go Houston.
It's Duke.
It was always Duke.
Who's gonna win? Why is this so hard? I'm going crossed out Arizona. I'm going back on Arizona. I'm going UConn.
Oh.
Because I can't. But then I can't fucking. You go,
Back to
Jake.
back.
You go.
All right, so I have Houston versus Purdue, and Purdue's winning this game. They're going to get to 1 win away of the Virginia story. North Carolina, Purdue is my national championship game. Edie.
I can't do okay. North Carolina, Purdue. Okay. So I have UConn, Arizona, Houston, Tennessee. I can't. You're telling me I can't pick Houston or Tennessee. Tennessee lost their first game of the conference tournament. They're out for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Houston lost by 1,000. No. No, there's an out. 2014 UConn lost at Louisville by 33.
You brought
in
this
the
up
regular
yesterday. You did bring it
They
up
lost by
yesterday.
33.
That's an out.
That's an out. We have an out. Go back, TJ. UConn is not beating Arizona. We're going back to Arizona.
Oh, my God.
We have the out. It has happened before. UConn in 2014 lost by 33 points and still went on to win a national championship. Give me Houston over Tennessee, and I'm going to jump ahead. Give me the Houston Cougars because I think Arizona going into a national championship in Arizona, it's giving me 1994 Duke and Charlotte vibes when Duke was playing the Arkansas Razorbacks, and it just felt like Duke had to get it done. They're in their own backyard. What could possibly go wrong? And Arkansas said, watch this, and beat them. Give me the Houston Cougars, a program that I have not respected to the degree that they deserved for years. And it took them going to the Big 12. And the best team, I believe Houston was the best team in the country for most of this season. Iowa State handed them their ass. I think that's going to wake them up. I don't know if I actually believe that, but I just wrote it right there, and it says it. I'm taking Houston over Arizona in the national.
So Houston over Arizona. So my national championship is North Carolina versus Purdue. On one end, you have North Carolina
In Phoenix.
Where they won their last national championship. On the other end, you have Purdue
And
trying to do
that's really all you need to say.
what Virginia did.
Yeah.
And they'll be 1 win away from doing it. But they won't.
Yeah.
The North Carolina Tar Heels are my national champion.
Purdue's not winning the national
2024.
championship. Purdue can't win the national championship.
Yeah, I don't understand the Purdue thing. What are they trying to overcome?
Zach Edey.
So
Best player.
I know you have
Best
you.
player is a-
I have
Low
UNC
TV
winning it all.
ratings, perhaps?
I have UNC winning it all. You have UNC out in round 2.
This is March.
But I don't hate it. I like UNC. Like
No, I
love UNC. Like
No,
Baycott's
RJ
been there.
Davis
RJ
is-
Davis has
RJ
been there.
Davis
Hubert
is
Davis
awesome.
has been
No,
there,
they've
and they know what it's like to lose in the championship game, and they don't want to do that again.
No, you're right. And the louder you say it, the more I feel it, honestly. But unfortunately, it says right here that Mississippi State and Josh Hubbard are going to be. I can't believe I picked Mississippi. How did you let me do that, Blubman?
I was quite literally thinking about soup.
You let me pick Mississippi State to beat North Carolina and didn't say a goddamn word.
Just thinking about soup.
All right, I want the graphic made. If Mississippi State, if North Carolina does win the national championship, and I look like an idiot because I had him out in the second round, I need an asterisk that Liam Blutman was thinking about soup when I made that pick. I want that to go on record that you were my safety net. That's the whole reason you're on this couch. And you were thinking about soup.
You have some cool facts.
Can I say something that's very exciting?
Joe Lenardi hit a hole-in-one.
No, even better.
What's better than
North
that?
Carolina plays on Thursday.
Oh yes!
Oh no! So
If
Howard,
you're just
picked-
joining us, my national champion the last 2
Congratulations.
years has lost on opening Thursday, and UNC
Congratulations
plays
to
on
Howard.
Thursday.
Howard Wagner, Seth Towns.
The Howard Wagner winner on Tuesday night will beat North Carolina.
That's incredible. There you go.
Yep.
Love that.
How'd you do it?
I went to elementary school with a guy named Howard Wagner.
Really?
Yeah, he used to eat his boogers.
Well, he's gonna win the national championship now.
I don't know what he's up to.
Oh man, we did it.
We did it, Jake. This was fun. We got to do this every year.
Let's do it.
It's
we
such
said even when we're not
it's-
working here
it's
one
mental
day, and
torture, but
we're
yeah.
retired.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm on my deathbed with like a terminal illness.
on Selection
I'm-
Sunday we will connect.
We'll find a way to connect. I'm gonna like blink my way through the bracket.
And the beautiful thing is we can't change this.
What the heck?
There's Blutman's.
Whoa!
Oh, did I get hacked?
Go
What is
Gators!
that?
Blutman
Yeah,
has the
that's-
Gators.
No, we're done. No.
There goes his bracket.
No,
Uh,
I'm redoing that.
What is your tiebreaker 3-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to price this right.
I don't think that's how it works.
It is now.
Tiebreaker scores for this.
My tiebreaker is 69's. No, do 88, which is 2 sets of boobs.
Nice.
Yeah, to 69.
Wow, you're so cool.
Yeah, which is the sex number.
Oh,
There we go.
confetti.
There we go.
And then I have UNC over Purdue. We'll go with 82-77.
How many points from Zach Edey at the line?
At the line, 26.
Yeah.
26. Jake, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you for
You're the
having me.
best. You can go.
We'll
listen
be
to-
together throughout the tournament.
Yeah, we'll be together forever, man. We're gonna
Yep.
be. We're gonna do this every year. I love it. Best of luck to everybody who is going to lose a ton of money taking our advice. But we'll see. Someone in this room might have just put together a perfect bracket. You never know. You never know. It could be
Probably me.
TJ. It could be TJ. Thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to everybody listening on the podcast feed. This particular program, the Mark Titus Show, we're going to be going live every day after NCAA tournament action, with the exception of the first 4 games. So starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll be doing a live show every night after all the action. Maybe Jake Marsh will make an appearance on some of these shows. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's the plan for throughout the tournament. That's going to be the coverage. So please join us, and we'll have some fun talking our way through this. I'm hoping I can get through like Thursday and Friday. If you go into that first Saturday feeling like your bracket's still
I know.
intact,
Like,
that's
that's
a
the
great
thing.
feeling, dude.
If UNC, I just need to see one go through the hoop. UNC just
I
beat
see-
Howard, beat Howard or Wagner, and I'll feel okay.
UNC, apologies, your season is now over. Courtesy of Jake Marsh, he's the kiss of death.
Just beat Howard or Wagner.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Blutman.
you.
Thanks to everybody watching, listening. See you later.
Does this look like the state of California? That might mean Long Beach State's year.
We're down.
Hold on.